Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the hottest show in all the globe right here on YouTube and every podcasting platform, the Welch with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise. That's right, clap it up, get excited wherever you are right here on a Thursday afternoon. We got action to talk about. Thank you so much for joining in on the Watch Report with me, your host, as we traverse through the world of sports in the greater landscape of the boxing ethos, more specifically for this episode, because we got a lot to talk about with Tank happening this week. His fight versus Lamont Roach with Chris Eubanks Jr. and Conor been having a bunch of heated arguments now, building into one of the more anticipated fights of the entire year, and it's almost 2 months away. It's already gotten sold out tickets already. We're gonna talk about that as well. All that and much more. Pound for pound rankings in the world of the boxing regime, who should indeed be in or out, in reaction to the Ring magazine putting out their own top 10 rankings for the world of boxing. Do I agree? Do I disagree? And shoot, who's in and who's out on my own personal pound for pound. All that and more. And on top of that, with Tank's drive as a boxer, do we need to start having that as a real concern when we look at him, as even though he's one of the more polarizing figures in the entirety of the boxing world, is there a concern for him and his drive and will to win on a more grandiose legacy type scale? All that and more going to talk about right here on the show. And if you would, comment your thoughts and opinions on the show. We'll bring them right up here in the chat if it works. If it works, it should be working. I don't know why it's not working, but we'll be going through, reacting to your chats and comments all throughout the show. No question about it. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait, I think I got the problem. I think I know what's going on. There we go. Okay, boom. We're good now. Yes, indeed. Bring up your thoughts, comments, and opinions. Whatever you want to discuss, we can talk about it right here on the show. No question. Also, Justin Kemp, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, and everybody else that tunes into the show. Please leave a like on the stream. Comment your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel and share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire of a community together as we already are. And please, share this through the airways. Make this show the best it can be by putting it to friends, family, anybody that you know, and anybody that's coming through. Hey, if you're new, welcome aboard. If you're old, well, I'm glad you came back. And all that's to say, we got ourselves a jam-packed episode. We're also available on every podcasting platform imaginable. After every episode gets uploaded here, or every show gets done here, we upload it to the airways for anybody to see. But with all that being said, we got a phenomenal show for everybody to see and discuss, and we're going to jump into it right now. And since we are talking about boxing, first and foremost, it is time to step into the ring. Hey, that's right. I'll ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway. And first, we had to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Gervonta Davis and his fight with Lamont Roach. That's right. It is Tank Fight Week. It is coming down the pipe. Tank Fight Night is only 3 days away, 2 days away. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Only 2 sleeps until we get to see the Tank. One of the most polarizing figures. One of the most exciting punchers in the sport come back into the fray against Lamont Roach. Now, full disclosure, we've already talked about why this fight is indeed bad. We have. Let's not get that twisted. We have already talked about how this fight is egregious. How it's terrible, it's horrible, it's utterly despicable. It's one of the worst things that we should be singing, in the words of JR.
Hey, look at this! We got some problems here!
We got some problems!
We got some problems here!
Oh, yes, we do. We got some problems in the world of boxing when it comes to him. In this whole regard, for not fighting top quality talent. We have already lamented it. But let's look at the bigger picture of this fight as a whole. Now, predictions? Did this on the last show? Who do I got winning? I got to take my knockout. Of course. I don't think Lamont Roach has a chance in the world. I don't think Lamont Roach has any form of talent to be able to actually give Tank some real trouble. Even moving up to 135 is not going to help him, because Tank's already taking punches from bigger punches, from people that are just as fast, if not faster, and from people that are even more durable, and I put them out the kingdom come. Again, Tank's fought at 140 before, and was able to knock out Mario Barrios. So, what chance does Lamont Roach have, especially with him being flat-footed, especially with Lamont Roach being somebody who isn't that great from the standpoint of combining defense and offense. When he gets aggressive, he gets really aggressive, and he forgoes a lot of the aspects of defense that would allow for him to not get caught in counter. And from Tank, he's going to get caught in counter, and then boom, he'll get knocked out. So you want a quick prediction and preview, that's what it is. But in the grand scheme of it all, beyond that, with this fight, I think it has us asking, where is Tank's drive? Genuinely. Where is Tank's drive as a boxer? And we ask that because if you saw the media workout last time around, you saw the man genuinely didn't show up to it, but what was it, 45 minutes to an hour afterwards, looking sleepy, looking tired, talked for like 3 minutes, and then left. Now, a lot of his own fans were up in arms. What the word's going on? Brother, where are you? Why aren't you at least showing us, even if it's just basic shadow boxing? Do something. Your fans are hungry. Your fans are driven. We want to see you in the ring in some capacity, in any capacity at this point, because as you all know, we are not going to see Tank for much longer in the boxing world because he's got only 3 fights left. He's up by his own volition. He said he's ending his career in 2025. He's got 3 fights left and then he's done. Over. Finito. Finished in the world of the sweet science. And now that we have that, his fans are kind of angry. Yo, what's good with it? Or rather, what's bad with it? Where is the punctuality, the dedication, the drive and hunger for the fight that you're getting ready to have? Going beyond just the regular answers that we know Tank gives, going beyond just the, oh yeah, I'm going to win. We're both here to compete. We're both great, phenomenal, all that stuff. Forget all that. When we look at this whole bigger picture beyond just the fight, I'm asking, where is Tank's drive? Because Tank's motivation for this fight could be dictative of what we see for the rest of his career. And that's because Tank himself is not in it, looks to be, at least for this fight, in the headspace where it's just blasé. In the headspace where it's not just going through the motions. This is now just, and I'm not really up for this fight, if you get what I'm saying. I'm not really, he's talked about with Lomachenko, it's hard to get out of bed for fights. It's hard for why Lomachenko did not fight Tank, or is not fighting Tank, or isn't even coming into the boxing regime at this point in time. We talked about it before. Hold on, let me get my words together. When we look at Tank now, for this fight, it's tough for him to get up, tough for him to get acclimated, tough for him to get motivated, tough for him to seemingly get invested in this fight, because as we know, this is not a fight that's worth investing in. This is something that is so far below Tank's level that, yeah, he shouldn't need really to do anything, because it's just blasé. You can go through the motions to be effective. But is this an appetite that now Tank has curated, that now Tank has cultivated, to the point that now he can't get out? He can't get at it. And I say that because we have the whole conversation around Tank and him fighting for the last 2 fights has been, I can't wait for a big name. I can't wait for a phenomenal type of event. I can't wait for him to fight Tio. I can't wait for him to fight Ryan Garcia. I can't wait for him to do, who knows? Floyd Schofield, even though he got sick, could fight Floyd Schofield, could fight Shakur Stevenson, could fight Teofimo Lopez, could fight Abdullah Mason, could fight Keyshawn Davis. There's so many different names. Yes, absolutely. We've touched on this show in the past. A couple people like Keyshawn Davis have now put their name in the bid for legitimately getting a shot at Tank and getting an actually competitive affair that we've been waiting on. With Keyshawn getting the championship from Bjornchik, with, again, the likes of Abdullah Mason still showing he's growing and being better and better and better. Shakur Stevenson, what he did to Josh Padley, all this different stuff. Phenomenal. But the bigger landscape is, we may think, or we may want all those fights to happen. We may say it all makes sense, but we also have to understand, where is Tank's mentality? And are we overestimating what Tank really wants at this point in time in his life? Because of how he's been moving for so long in a way that we despise. And again, yo, what's up, J League? How you doing? Good to see you. Leave a like on the stream since you're here. Thanks for showing up. Absolutely glad that you tuned in. And again, we'd love to hear your opinions. But when we're talking about Gervonta Davis, and again, we don't try to make this channel just about him. We try to spread and cover all types of sports. It's fight week with Tank. We're getting ready for Tank versus Lamont. We most likely know what's going to happen. And we can talk about the fight more throughout the show as the fight in and of itself. But strictly when it comes to the aftermath, what we all expect to happen with this Tank knocking out Lamont Roach. Now, we all expect something big to be happening because of Tank's rhetoric. I'm going to call somebody out. I'm going to do something I ain't never done before. I'm going to go and push for a fight. I'm going to go get a name and bring them in the ring. I'm going to do that. We all getting excited. We're all getting all on pins and needles. We don't even care about the fight. We care about the post-fight. Chris Eubanks versus Conor Ben, their press conference is overtaking the entirety of the fight. But are all our hopes just going to fall flat because of how Tank has been moving? Or are we just taking his word at face value that, yeah, this brother's going to do this great thing that we've all been waiting on? In actuality, that's not what's going to happen. In actuality, never was he going to call out somebody because he's gotten an appetite for mediocrity. And because of that appetite, he is now perpetually in a cycle. He potentially couldn't get out if he tried. Now, that sounds volatile. Absolutely. That sounds like, yo, what are you trying to spin? What are you trying to push? I'm not trying to say that Tank isn't somebody that can or doesn't want to be great. But I am saying that based on his actions in the past, even with what we know Tank can do against quality opposition, why is it? And I found myself falling in the same hole. Why is it that all of a sudden we're buying in to this type of hype of he's about to do something great? When he said he was about to do something great in past fights, in past years, and then didn't do it in terms of taking fights, in terms of being on a competitive level. Or when he did keep his word, he then dropped off the face of the map and did a bunch of bum fights that he did not have any business taking. And we were all saying, what's going on? Again, an up and down career, a roller coaster. You'll have a great event, you'll have a great fight, and then you'll go, and then you'll stop. And then you'll flounder in mediocrity. And now with this whole situation, with unequivocally, the worst fight in Tank's career with this Lamont Roach event. No question about it. Why are we all of a sudden now going about and having, I don't want to say false hope, but latching on to the words and forgetting what has happened in the past, which, again, normally hasn't been kept up to where it needs to be? And could we be in a situation where, as much as Tank may talk about he's going to take somebody great, he's going to fight somebody phenomenal, he's going to be in a situation that puts him exactly where we want him to be as fans, to somewhat salvage the legacy of him getting in fights with prime-time quality opponents in the prime of his career, with his career now winding up by his own volition? Are we just, because of the anticipation of finally we're going to get what we want, not even guaranteed, are we buying into a dream that really may not happen at all? Again, it's speculative, but it's just a thought. Because when we look at the track record of Tank, does he get knockouts? Absolutely. Does he keep his word about what he's going to do in the ring on the night of the fight? Yes. But has he ever genuinely backed up his claim of what he is as a fighter against a fighter that has been on his level? Beyond just name recognition, we're talking about talent of the later stages in his career, since he's reached his zenith of his prime. Shoot, since the likes of Ryan Garcia. Has he done that? And no, he hasn't. That's been, 2-3 years? It's all this stuff, this constantly laden hope. I hate it, but doggone it. Should we really be prepared? We got to be careful to not build ourselves up to potentially get let down I already understand who we're dealing with because we've seen this track record before. And as much as we may think, as much as I may hype up, as much as I may be excited to see, my gosh, we can finally get Tank versus Tio. We just don't know. And again, look, Harold, how you doing? Good to see you. Appreciate you tuning in. I get it. It is an odd narrative. It is an odd standpoint. I'm not a Tank fan nor a Tank hater. I don't like to be somebody that's hot takes or whatever. But it's just something that's been on my mind. Ever since he announced he's going to retire, ever since he's been saying he's going to call out a big name, ever since he's been doing all of this stuff that's gotten our hopes up, in lieu of this Lamont Roach fight, because we're not looking we don't even care about the fight more so than the aftermath. I don't want to be let down because, this brother didn't do what he said he would do or live up to the expectations of what his legitimate, not just name, but talent, grandeur, and actual legacy defining ability should be. This is not me hating. If I was hating, I would say the Tank is a bump. Because again, you may be new here. And again, appreciate you tuning in. Also, real quick, somebody, R. Smith, what's up with you? Oh, Smith, you saying what's up? Glad to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show. No question about it. I appreciate you tuning in. Absolutely. And we got another comment. Is Tank taking Roach lightly since they have history? Better watch out. Don't fall asleep like Haney did to Ryan Garcia. That could be a high possibility. No question. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No. I don't think it's going to be the case. I think, again, Tank's going to get knocked out. Even with the past history that Lamont Roach and them have had in the past, I firmly believe with who Lamont Roach is right now and who Tank is right now, it's not going to be competitive. Now, Tank could still be taking him lightly from the standpoint, I'm going to still train like I need to train, but I am somewhat looking past you. That could be entirely possible because we all understand, whether you're a Tank fan or hater, we all understand that this fight is not a fight that should be happening at all. This fight should not be a situation where you're bringing somebody up from 130, even if it's a champion. This isn't, and we've talked, again, Jay Riggs, I think Hurl, is it Heel? Hurl? I think it's Hurl. Jay Riggs, Hurl, Rusty Cage, everybody. Also, hold on, Rusty Cage, almost right. Brother, how you doing? Brother, good to see you. Hey, thanks for joining in on the show. Absolutely. Hey, man, we're here to please, we're here to satisfy the needs of talking sports and boxing. And beyond just boxing, we got NBA and other stuff as well. But yeah, hey, glad that you tuned in. But when it comes to pushing word narrative, we understand that this is not a fight that should be competitive. We understand this. This is not hating on somebody who is a champion because this is completely different. If this was Junto Nakatani versus Inoue, we'll be having a different conversation. And who at 135 has better opponents than Tank? At 135, well, Lomachenko, on average, when Devin Haney was there, Devin Haney had better competition. Ryan Garcia has fought Tank Davis and Devin Haney. Two legitimately, at that point in time, top 10 pound-for-pound fighters. Then for Oscar Duarte, now looking to fight Devin Haney again. And let's see, who's that Tito kid? I think 135. Let me look it up. Let me look it up. We validate. Let's see. 135. The name right now eludes me. I think I know who you're talking about. Good gosh, why can't I think I know who you're talking about, Jay Riggs. I can't talk on it. The name's not coming to me. I'm sorry. I'll come back to finding out who this is. But in terms of on topic, also LW, what's good with you? How you doing? Appreciate you coming in on the show. Absolutely. Leave a like on the stream if you would and share it with everybody. But I thank you so much. No question about it. But again, if this was a situation where Tank at Junto Nakatani fighting Inoue, after defending his belt at bantamweight 3 times, cleaning out the division at bantamweight to move up to super bantamweight to fight Inoue, different conversation. Ben Rodriguez moving up after dominating the division to fight Junto Nakatani at 120, different conversation. It's not the same. Teofimo Lopez fighting Boots Ennis at 147. That's a different conversation than this fight. Understand, context, Lamont Roach just won the belt. He just won the belt. Had one title defense. Wasn't even highly rated at that respect either. We respected him. But in terms of from the standpoint of who Tank should be fighting, you know who the names were. And it was not in any way, shape, or form Lamont as a legitimate quality opponent. And so that's not me hating. That's the truth of the matter. If you really think that Lamont Roach should be in the conversation for who deserves to fight against Gervonta Davis at this stage in Tank's career, when Tank should be seen as living up to the pound-for-pound moniker that everybody puts on him, which, again, I don't agree with, not because his talent isn't great. No, his talent is one of the best in the world. His talent is indeed pound-for-pound worthy. But as we talked about in the past, his resume doesn't add up to the claim that you put on your shoulders. It doesn't. And so now, going back to the topic, with us getting our hopes up that we think Tank's going to call somebody out that is going to be competitive, that is going to be incredibly taxing, that is going to push somebody into a legitimate situation where, boom, the brother's going to actually be in a fight. He's going to actually have to think. He's going to actually have to legitimately adapt and grow. Be tested in ways that have been tested before. Like, this ain't it. And do we think, or is there a possibility that with all this that's going on, it's going to be our expectations get failed again by this man who's done it multiple times before? That's all I'm saying. As much as we want to see, I want to see Tank be great. I want to see him be a legacy-defining fighter. I want to see him be one of the best of this generation, not just in his fighting ability, but with the accolades and names to be able to back it. Because I've said it in the past, if we see Tank retire this year, like he said he's going to, and genuinely not accomplish the stuff that he said or that we want him to accomplish, that we see him as deserving to be, that we see him as being able to push himself to be able to go and chase that brass ring at elevated levels of danger. If he doesn't do that with what he has already done or not done for the majority of his career already, he's going to be a fighter that's forgotten the time. That's the truth. He's going to be a fighter that's forgotten the time. The talent's going to be incredible. We're going to remember he was an exciting fighter, but at the same time, the man did not do anything to live up to the standards of his own peers who kept on achieving and fighting, who kept on getting better names on the resume, a better quality body of work, wins or losses, a better quality body of work. That's the thing. And if Tank wasn't doing that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But because Tank is doing it, and because he's prone to do it again, and not even call out the people that we want him to call out. Not even, he could walk out the ring outright. The brother could say, nah. You know what? I'll go back home and think about it. What if he says that? Does the stereotypical, let me talk on my team and we'll wait and see. Backtracking on his word yet again. And then we don't hear from him for another couple months. And then no fight, legitimate. The next fight is again another bum type fight like we've been seeing before. What happens then? Are you all going to say I'm spinning a narrative, or is it going to be y'all are hot, y'all are mad, y'all are upset, y'all are yelling at the TV screens, what the world? Because we're essentially paying $80 for just, do you understand that we are paying for the majority of people? Some people, some people ain't doing it. Some people ain't doing it. But you understand that most people are paying $80, not necessarily for the knockout. Yeah, they want to see Tank fight, but for the post-fight press conference, that's the most anticipated thing of the night. Is the post-fight press conference, not El Rayo, not Lamont Roach. It's the post-fight press conference that everybody's really leaning into beyond just the fight itself, because we know the fight ain't gonna be really competitive. We assume, anyway. We have a pretty solid foundation on why we assume, but regardless of which, it could surprise us, but could not. And so if that's what we're looking at And we've seen also that multiple times throughout his career. The most engaging thing was beyond the fight. Is he going to actually take a chance? Nope. Well, back to the mundane. That shouldn't be what it should be. That shouldn't be what transpires. That shouldn't be, for me, for a star like him, on an average basis, that shouldn't be. I'm not saying that everybody needs to fight, a heavy hitter. Everybody don't need to be an Inoue. Everybody don't need to be somebody who's an Usyk, fighting on test after test after test after test, consistently going through the ranks 1 through 5, next division 1 through 5. Everybody don't need to be doing it. Everybody can't do that. Understandable. Those are anomalies, but they are blueprints of greatness. And with Tank, when we think he's going to follow that blueprint, at least to some similar degree, even with the likes of Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker right now has been fighting big-time opponents on his comeback show, back to back, has one of the best resumes in all of heavyweight boxing right now. You cannot look at that man and say he's ducked any smoke. And you can't look at that man and say he is an elite. He's gained the respect. He's become a big threat. He is somebody that is like, oh my gosh. The body of work is indeed incredible. That could be Tank. No notes, no questions, no qualms. That could be Tank. That could and should be him. But it's not, because of how he's operated in his own rank, how he's chosen to move. And because of that track record of how he moves, I can't say that, oh yeah, we're going to get a big name. Now, and it would be me in the media world to not do it, it would be a disservice for me in the media world to give false hope to you and not at least give you a heads up. Be prepared. Hold on a minute. I've also perpetuated that I can't wait for him to call out big names. But let's not forget the fact that all this could just drop and we could get nothing. The brother could go and, dare I say, fight at a level like this again against a similar type of opponent again, which is not highly rated in the world of Tank Davis and its talent. This could happen again as the next fight, and we may never get the quality types of fights that we want to have. Just as a heads up, because of who we know Tank is and how he's been operating. What he has said in interviews, what other fighters have said about him, what Terrence Crawford has said about him. He ain't lie about it. He ain't lie about how Tank uses his influence, uses his cachet to control everything when it comes to fighting. Why he won't fight at 140 or 154, 140, whatever other weight class may be, if it's not fully in his control. He's talked about it. You can go look up Cigar Talk. Phenomenal show. Phenomenal interview. You can go look it up right now. Terrence Crawford breaks all that down. Why he doesn't like Tank specifically, how he doesn't like the way Tank operates, talks about Tank's fighting style, which he does respect, goes through all that. So I'm not just pulling stuff out of, I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not pulling stuff out of thin air. This is stuff that Tank has said, and this is stuff that some of the best in the world who have been around Tank, more than any of us may even realize, what they say about him. Though this is not a fluke. This is legitimate. That's why I can't sit up here and just give you false hope about what can potentially happen. Gotta at least give a warning sign. Hey, be prepared. Stuff could not go your way. And if it doesn't, have your emotions ready to be let down. If, in fact, we don't get what we think we should, not what we think, what should absolutely happen with who Tank fights next. Anybody of that elite 135, 142. Every big name that he has control to be able to make the fight. There's no situation where he's not the A side. There's no situation where he won't make any money. There's no situation where he can't get a title. There's no situation where he couldn't potentially go try to be undisputed. There's no situation in any given form this year that he couldn't go and challenge the best in the world. All roads are open. And if he doesn't do it, I'm like, I don't want y'all to be let down. I don't. And also don't want it to be like, you told us he was going to do this, and then now, he ain't do it. What's going on? Be prepared. Just be prepared. That's all I'm saying. Just be prepared. But let's see. Devin Orloma Devin or Loma's opponent's not better than Tank. Loma ducked Tank. Well, that's a both-faced lie. We've covered that in the past. We went through all of Tank's career. Tank even said that Loma didn't duck him. And we broke down exactly what Tank did in the past. You can go look it up in the past episode about the timeline of Tank and Lomachenko. While he was under Floyd, when Floyd said, don't fight him, you don't need him right now, even though he was ready. He was indeed one of the hottest names. Lomachenko was at his prime. That fight could have been made. Floyd stopped that. Then when he came out of his own and became his own promoter, his own man, under the guide of Floyd and became strictly just Tank by himself, there was still an opportunity to fight Lomachenko. And he still didn't do it. And he could have made the fight if he pushed for it. And Loma wanted him. And so it ain't like it was one half or the other. So no. We've proven that it's false on this show. He's undefeated. He's undefeated. Would beat the brakes off of Shakur if they fought. Nope. Now I agree with it. I agree that Tank would beat Shakur. I agree. I think that Tank would knock out Shakur. That's absolutely. But the issue is, it's not just about the performance. I don't care what I think you're gonna do. You gotta do it. I don't care if I think that Dubois could put up a good fight against Usyk, but he's got to get in the ring. I don't care if Terrence Crawford can potentially fight or not fight the likes of Canelo and be competitive. He's got to get in the ring. Tank, I don't care how great I think he can be and who I think he can beat, which is a lot of people. Brother, you got to get in the ring and make an effort, at least make an effort to make those fights happen, to prove and back up your claim. That's all. Because I want to see if I'm right or wrong. I want to see if Tank is worth the hype that we all see and recognize his talent is. But if you don't do it against the people that actually put you to a litmus test, then what else is there for me to say except for I like everything's up in the air. You still got to prove the point. If you don't prove the point, then everything is just speculation. Especially if you aren't going out of your way and making these fights to validate what you are. Like that just can't be. We all get on Canelo now for not moving like we want, like he should be moving. Not fighting Dave Benavidez. But let's not forget, on his road from 154 to being the king of 168, he was doing everything. Let's not forget that. Canelo got to where Canelo was from a name cachet standpoint because he fought Floyd, Cotto, Kirkland, Khan, Trout, Lara, Gennady Golovkin 3 times, Caleb Plant. I don't like he went through the ringer. And he proved, yeah, this brother is the truth. He proved what he is. Tank has not proved anything. We can say all we want about how much Tank can beat somebody, but brother, you have to, it takes two to tango. If you got everybody else calling you out and you ain't fought but one person of a big name that's called you out, what are we supposed to think? What are we supposed to think? If Ryan Garcia is the best name on your resume, 135 Ryan Garcia more specifically, that is not that at this stage, that's not good enough. We just say, oh yeah, he could dominate. It's not good enough. There are people out there that could give you tests. You have to be willing to get to the table also, not just them calling you out. Everybody can't duck Tank. Everybody can't. If everybody's calling out Tank and everybody's ducking Tank at the same time, what the world? At some point, where does Tank fall in this conversation? And it can't just be that everybody's avoiding the brother. It can't just be everybody's scared to get beat. Because with Tank, it's the biggest payday for most boxers. That's the truth. So what you gonna say? They're gonna leave money at that point? All of a sudden, oh, there's no point. There's no need. Like some of these things, some of these narratives when it comes to Tank about what he is and who doesn't want to fight him, who doesn't want to fight, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem that's perpetuated and helps to drive a stigma that shouldn't be. It ain't just everybody else not wanting to fight Tank. But Tank also got to get to the table with some of these big names who've gotten the title, who's been a champion, who's defended their belt, who's reached the top of the division. There are people out there. Like, what the world? I'm serious. It can't just be that everybody's avoiding Tank. Tank got to have some fault in this in some regard. Because it can't be everybody's running away, but everybody's using his name. And people say everybody uses his name just for clout, but then nobody actually, gains any more money when they do it. You trying to get a bigger payday? Well, doggone it, everybody's paid, except for Tank has been about the same. Shakur got paid a bag because he fought, again, on Turkey Al Sheikh's card. So outside of fighting against Turkey, everybody's numbers have been either stayed the same or diminished when it comes to pay-per-view buys and all the business acumen. But they still call out Tank. So at what point is it that Tank just ain't fighting people? That's the question. At what point is it that Tank ain't fighting people? It's we got to look at it from that perspective. And so, yeah. Also, Warlord Boxing, what's up with you? How you doing? Good to see him. My apologies for getting to your stuff late. Shakur was calling him out a few weeks ago on side of the ring when he was fighting. Yes, he was. We gonna see if that fight happens. And if, again, Tank actually wants to be about it, be about it. He's a champion. You a champion. Unified. Let's get it on. Keyshawn Davis also right there. Shoot, Liam Poirot at this point would be somebody that would be like, okay, hey, cool. Not Liam Poirot. Who's the other brother? Who's the other brother? It's Tank. It's Tank. Who is it? Who's the other? Not Liam Poirot. I got the name wrong. It's doggone, I can't think of it right now. Keyshawn Davis, Tank, Shakur, and I forget who's the fourth champion. I forget who's the fourth champion in which. But regardless of which, Lamont Roach is a very good fighter and a world champion. Roach is a world champion. But like all title holders are not the same. They're not the same. That would be like what's a good comparison? There isn't even a good comparison. There isn't a good comparison. Lamont Roach is a good fighter at 130. Yes. He's a champion at 130. Yes. Does he belong in the ring with Tank? No. Does he deserve this opportunity with Tank? No. Was he on your radar to fight Tank as, this buddy could give him some problems? If he was, props to you. He wasn't on mine and wasn't on a majority of these people. On the majority of people in the chat, majority of people around the boxing world, he was not on the minds of boxing fans as, get him in the ring. Oh, he's a problem. He's a menace. Look at him. Ain't he just the bee's knees when it comes to giving Tank some trouble? Oh boy, you better look out for that, brother. We weren't talking about Lamont Roach in the slightest in that regard. We respect Lamont Roach. He is a good fighter, but he has no business getting in the ring with Tank. He doesn't. Especially after one title defense. And especially what Tank has said about other people who aren't big enough to fight him, who don't have the cachet to fight him. Though they've been champions, though they've been undisputed, though they've beaten some of the best in the world. He has put down other people's careers when it comes to you ain't big enough and good enough to fight me, and they've accomplished more than Lamont Roach. So what the world? What means does that mean that what sense does that make that Lamont Roach now is primed and ready, prepped and deserving to be able to earn a shot to fight for Tank? That's like, I don't see it. I definitely don't see it. And this is not because I'm disrespecting Lamont. This is because we understand what the standard is when it comes to Tank at this stage. Wasn't it the same when Edgar Berlanga earned a shot at fighting Canelo? We were all saying, well, that's just despicable. That's stupid. Why? This is a similar situation. Is Lamont Roach more accomplished than Berlanga? Absolutely. Again, a world champion. We are not diminishing the title. But the fight as of itself is not a situation. It's not the same. There is no way in the world that this is the same type of situation. And see, Shakur fought an electrician, Tank fighting the champion. And again, Shakur, understand, Schofield got sick. Like, Schofield got sick. And Shakur handled what should have been handled when it comes to the world, when it comes to Josh Padley. So it wasn't like he struggled. 9 rounds of domination ended in knockouts. So no real bad situation there. Tank is fighting the champion, absolutely. Shakur's beaten 3 world champions. Moving up in weight. So I'm like, you know, it's in my opinion, bad comparison because we do know what Shakur is. We do know that Shakur's technical ability is something that can give him some trouble. In terms of Tank, he's going to beat him? I don't think so, but still, it's a fight that needs to happen, regardless of which. And so let's see. Oh, we got a lot of people chatting in the comments down below. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. We got people chatting. We got people chatting. Shakur and Devin Haney and Keyshawn Davis will outbox Tank, and Tank knows that. That's why he tries to say that they haven't done anything, and they're trash. Devin's career, hands down, is far better than Tank's. Yes. And that is not saying that Tank is not better than Devin Haney. Tank as a talent is better than Devin Haney. But this sums up exactly what we're saying. Devin Haney is a prime example of somebody who has had a better career, taken on multiple tests, and genuinely been put constant. And again, Cap. How is it Cap? How is it Cap? If or excuse me, are you talking about Cap with Shakur's hands? Not gonna have a choice but slap the man off. In terms of that's gonna be a problem again. But in terms of Devin's career is also Leon Dow 3. I think it's Leon Dow 31. How you doing? Good to see you. And everybody else tuning into the chat. Thank you so much for coming in on the show. Absolutely. And Shakur is known as Mr. Glass Hands. He is. We get it. We get that Shakur Shakur's got hand problems. It's going to give him a problem when it comes to Devin Haney, when it comes to Tank Davis. If that fight does happen, no question. When it comes to the world of, what's up, good fella? Hey, man, I appreciate you coming in. We're having great conversation when it comes to everything surrounding boxing. We got people chatting fast, and I'm able to almost keep up. My goodness, this is great. Leave a like on the stream. This is the community that we're trying to build up. We embrace everybody's types of opinions. I'll go back and forth with you, absolutely, but this is what we want. This is what we deserve when it comes to this whole type of show. This is what the Welch Report is all about, baby. No question about it. And we still got more stuff to cover. Don't go anywhere. But when we're talking about, again, with Tank, Shakur, Devin Haney, and others, I am not saying that Tank can't beat those people. I am not. But we can't overlook the fact that we have to understand when it comes to accomplishments that there is a real situation where Tank is lagging behind. We have gone over what his accomplishments are. He's beaten Pedraza. He's beaten Leo Santa Cruz. He has beaten Ryan Garcia. He has beaten, again, I deem Frank Martin as a good win, but on the lowest of rungs in that realm. And then he beat Mario Barrios. Those are his 5 best wins in his career. Now, I'm not saying that that's horrible, but Ryan Garcia at this point in time is the out-and-out best win. And not almost, I think we covered this online. Every single type of win that Tank has had some sort of caveat by fans on the side. But, wait, hold on, wait. Oh, we got somebody trying to talk to me? Hold on a minute. Wait a second, hold on. Somebody trying to talk to me? Let's see, look, let's see. Look at the last 4 fights. First time Devin Haney fought somebody's size, he folded up. No question, absolutely, he did. But that doesn't change the fact that when we look at the names when we look at the names and accomplishments, like it is something different. Like we can't look at Devin Haney being undisputed as just blasé. Like, can we? Genuine. I want to ask that to you. At 135, looking at holding the undisputed title, or any division holding the undisputed title, is that not something that is worth something? What especially in the 4-belt era, is that not something that holds some weight as a legitimate mega accomplishment? That's like, oh shoot, you real. Is that not like, when did that become a problem? Or rather, when did that become a situation where, oh, you ain't done enough? When Tank hasn't even attempted to unify in the first place. Let's not forget that. If I remember correctly, Tank has been at the tops of the division multiple times in terms of, yo, you are the best and you have a belt, or you are in line to get a belt, and then you never fought for a belt nor tried to unify said division as a whole at any given point in time, whether it was with T.O., whether it was at Loma, whether it was with Shakur. whether it was with now Keyshawn Davis, back then with Ryan Garcia down there when he was in the running, it was still like you could have gotten undisputed. I've been saying, that you could be undisputed at both 135 and 140. You could do the same thing Devin Haney did twice over. And size wouldn't dictate it. Speed wouldn't dictate it. You would be able to conquer both divisions. The struggle would really become at 147 and potentially against the likes of Teofimo Lopez. I've been saying it. I know that. I know that that's the truth about this man because he's that good. He's that great. He is that phenomenal. No question in my mind. Tank is that type of dude. Tank is a brother who I have been saying he could fight up to 147 and be dominant. He could hit. I would love to see him against Jerron Boots Ennis. That would be a great fight to see. Strictly off the standpoint of talent for talent, physical capabilities, and raw athleticism and raw boxing versus technical precision. Technical, powerful precision and counterpunching on the side of Tank Davis. That would be a great fight because I think that Tank can get up to that level, get up to that weight, and still be Tank. No question. Can he beat Boots? Whole nother conversation. But can he give him a great fight? Absolutely, at minimum. Could he be a champion? I believe so. At 147, yes, he could. So we can lament all we want about what he has not done. I'm not going to sit here back and just not acknowledge what he is, but that's the whole point of this conversation. We can't just go off of what he is. And if we all see that he's got that ability in him, why not go after the bodies to validate that type of talent? And Tank hasn't done that. We can say Ryan Garcia's done it. We can say Devin Haney did it. We could, Shakur Stevenson was getting ready to do it when he was fighting against Floyd Schofield, one of the more high-profile young stars in the division, powerful puncher, all that stuff. We could say that because he was going and he was doing it at 130, 135. And now at the tops of 135, looking to, again, not just as a champion, but pushing to get some big fights, trying to. Almost made it happen with the likes of Schofield. We were all looking forward to it. Were we not all looking forward to that fight? Were we not all saying this is a good fight? This is a great fight. This is a fight at the right time that fits where Shakur is at his career? Absolutely, we want to see it. There was no critiquing. It was all like, yes, the matchmaking was indeed what we wanted it to be. Because it fit where we thought Shakur was. With Tank, that's not the case. And Tank can make these fights happen. But if Tank doesn't make that fight happen, just like with Canelo having all the power, Canelo could have gotten to the table and made that fight with Benavidez. The belt commissions could have also made Benavidez mandatory instead of waiting around for 3 years before Benavidez was like, I'm not waiting around anymore. I'm moving up, and then give him the option. But at that point, his mind was already made up. He's going up to light heavyweight to challenge now potentially Bivol. Potentially Bivol. I gotta verify if it's been made that he's a mandatory or if they are indeed going through with the structure. But regardless of which, we see what Benavidez is doing. We see how he's chasing. We've seen how others have chased and have consistently tried to continue to pull down greatness. Tank just hasn't done it. And he's got the capacity to do it. He's got the power to do it. But if he doesn't do it, what else is there for me to say? Especially when I look around and say all the other excuses of why stuff couldn't fall through get quieter and quieter and quieter. And especially with this fight with Lamont Roach, it's like, well, you could have fought anybody at 135, and it would have been better than this. Not because we don't respect Lamont Roach, but this is not where you're supposed to be at this stage, and you're fighting down. This is like Tyson Fury fighting Dillian White. This is like Tyson Fury fighting Derek Chisora for a fourth time. When Usyk was right there. You see what I'm saying? It's a problem. For me, it's a problem. For me, it's just a problem. Tank has never been 140 pounds. Why does Tank have to fight up? And why does Tank have to fight up and out of his weight class because he is that dominant? Yes. See, you have to understand. Tank did fight at 140 against Mario Barrios. So he's done it before. That's point number one. He did fight at 140. He did beat Mario Barrios. Point number one. Absolutely knocked him out. No question. That did happen. We're not gonna say that. That did happen. He's fought at the weight that we see T.O. and others fight now. And I'll even give you that he shouldn't fight out of his weight class. We've talked about how people should be able to fight where their actual weight class is. Have we not talked about? Okay, yes. See, J. Riggs, thank you for validating for me. But again, have we not talked about how we want to see people fighting at their natural weight class? So people like Devin Haney and others who are weight bullies can't get that same level of advantage, and it's genuinely the best of you versus the best of whoever else is across the ring from a physical standpoint. Everything is as fair as it can be, and it will truly show what you are. We've talked about that. But at the same vein, with Tank Davis, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But I'll ask you this. If that's the case, and if he should be fighting at where he's fighting at now, why is he fighting somebody at 130 who, up until this point, has not shown any real ability to be able to say, yeah, I'm ready to move up to that weight class and fight Tank at 135? Was Lamont Roach on your radar as a legitimate up-and-coming boxer who was running through 130 with how dominant we know the likes of Tank is? Was Lamont Roach on your radar of saying, yeah, this man, once he cleans out 130, he's moving up? And the brother had one title defense. That's it. And now we're saying all of a sudden, yeah, he's ready for Tank. Were you actually thinking it? And if Tank should be, like you say, fighting at the weight class that he's comfortable at, then why is he not fighting the other champions at his division? Why was he not fighting Keyshawn Davis? Why did he not fight Shakur? And if anything, especially after the De Los Santos fight, when his stock was at its lowest, and everybody was saying, oh yeah, Shakur's going to mount the float. Why would he not do it? There are still bodies at 135 that he could fight on his own. He could indeed do it. There's no question. There's still names at 135. From great all the way to mundane. There are still names at 135. But you fighting somebody at 130. Again, with all due respect to my Roach, who is not on that level. I'm like, it's a problem. Is it? It's a problem. Let me see. What did L say before we go through? What did L say? Canelo and Tank are not the same, are not on the same boat. Canelo is a duck artist. Tank is so unnaturally gifted. Everyone wants him to fight bigger fighters out of his weight class. No. Hold on. Pump the brakes. Hold on. Time out. Understand what I'm saying clearly. I don't know what everybody else is saying. I hear the rhetoric, absolutely. And I understand where you're coming from. But hear me clearly when I say this. I am saying that parts of your statements are true. Tank is unnaturally gifted. Everybody wants him to fight bigger fighters out of his weight class. Sure. That is not the main problem. When we talk about the greatness or lack thereof of Tank Davis, it is because of the fact that Tank Davis has been solidified at 135, and he was in the same names as Teofimo Lopez, as Lomachenko in his prime, as Devin Haney when he was undisputed, as Ryan Garcia. No question. And with the up-and-coming prospects at that point in time of Abdullah Mason and Shakur Stevens. And also, just now, Emmanuel Navarrete is now at 135, who was champion at 126, I believe, and at 130, who beat Oscar Valdez, knocked him out, or beat him once, knocked him out twice, and has been one of the most unorthodox and unique offensive fighters that I would love to see get in the ring with Tank. Incredible. That is a roughly 6 to 8 names that I've named within the division. Or excuse me, yeah. That's about six. That's about six, between 6 and 7, 6 and 8 that I've named that are at 135 that Tank could fight, that Tank was able to fight, that were champions. And they moved, and T.O. moved up, never got a fight with Tank. Devin Haney moved up, never got a fight with Tank. Even with all the belts, never got a fight with Tank. And Tank was in position to fight him. Ryan Garcia, he fought him. Weight trade him. And yes, he did, but still beat him, knocked him out. Cool. All credit. But he moved up. Now you got people like, again, Navarrete, Shakur coming into his prime physically, Schofield, Abdullah Mason, Keyshawn Davis, champions and elite fighters at this division still, that you are not fighting at 135. We can forget. When I say he can fight above up to 140, it's because, yes, he is that gifted. But he hasn't handled his own business at this division now. He hasn't. Like, there is no argument you can tell me that when he had, again, I'm going to go through the names that were at 135, and you tell me how many he actively pursued and got out of there and fought. I'm going to go through them and knock them down for him and put in the chat how many were actually names that he got on his resume. Teofimo Lopez, Keyshawn Davis, Abdullah Mason, Shakur Stevenson, Floyd Schofield, Lomachenko, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Emmanuel Navarrete. Now, there has been, out of all those names that were in their prime, undefeated at that point in time, and or were champions, and or are champions now, the only name that he actually fought was Ryan Garcia. And that's because Ryan Garcia was the biggest box office name that you had in the division outside of Tank. From the standpoint of social media acclaim, as a big star, no question. From a talent, you can go back and look at my prediction for this fight. Go back and look at my breakdown for this fight on this very channel. I was saying that Ryan Garcia has no way at this stage, especially him being weight trained, the ability to beat Tank Davis. He was going to get knocked out. From a name perspective, just quoting myself, from a name perspective, Tank and Ryan Garcia are neck and neck from the standpoint of big-time box office. They don't make the pay-per-view numbers that they do without each other there because they ain't done it since. They don't. Tank has been a big star. He ain't done numbers like that since Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, vice versa. He's going to make it again when he fights against Devin Haney, at least something similar to that, closer to that, but regardless of which, ain't done it since. So from a name perspective, two mega stars were fighting against each other. Phenomenal. Love it. But from a talent perspective, go watch my breakdown on the fight. I was adamant that there was nothing from a technical perspective that Ryan Garcia could do to beat Tank. The only thing I was saying was that physically there was a chance. The speed and physicality was something that could give him the best opportunity. But no, he's not a better fighter, and he's going to get knocked out. And what did I say? In just about the same round or one round later, he got knocked out. Which again, hey, props to me. I was right. When it comes to this prediction stuff, I do this, yes indeed. But the greater standpoint is, that's the only man that he fought. And he wasn't even on the caliber of technical talent that we were saying could beat the likes of Gervonta Davis. That was T.O., that was Loma, that was Devin Haney. And nowadays, it's Keyshawn Davis. Nowadays, it is Shakur Stevenson, both of whom now have belts, and he's not even trying to pursue it. Why? Why is that the case? That's where the problem lies. It's not just about you being unnaturally gifted. You can be up there with the greats, but you ain't even handling the stuff. You can be up there with the best at better divisions because you are indeed talented. But if you aren't handling your business where you are, That's like it's a problem. It's a problem. Listen, can I ask a question? Why don't y'all keep the same energy with everyone outside of the tank? And LW, your point exactly. If now, I'll let other people vouch for me in the chat, but I'm trying to do the same thing across the board. If you were here on the channel earlier, I had the same rhetoric when it came to Devin Haney. Excuse me, when it came to Tyson Fury. I had the same rhetoric when it came to Canelo Alvarez for the last 3 fights. I've had the same rhetoric when it came to other greats. I've even held Noya in a way to the same standard. I have not tried. I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for me. I have done my due diligence to make sure that I'm doing the best I can to keep everybody on the same playing field. Do I fail? Potentially so. I'm not perfect. But people on this channel, who hopefully they'll vouch for me in the chat, understand when it comes to me specifically, I've been keeping the same energy across the board with everybody. I've done my best to make sure that this same standard of consistently trying to be what you need to be and do what you're supposed to do is in fact what's supposed to happen. I've given as much context as I can to why stuff doesn't happen. We've talked about the political side of boxing. We've talked about the situation where people are consistently behind the scenes messing up stuff, messing up events, cheating, stealing money, all this, so many different things that helps make fights fall through. We've seen that before. Some stuff out of boxers' control. There's been many situations where boxers want to take a test and then they can't do it because of something out of their control. We understand all as best we can. We've tried to categorize all ins and outs when it comes to the world of elite fighters or just fighters in general going through and operating. And to the best of my ability, I have aimed at keeping the consistency the same. I have genuinely tried. I don't do fanboyism. I try to do favoritism. I don't even care about what promotions. It's like we like I get it when it comes to the standpoint of why stuff is out of people's control, and sometimes stuff just don't happen. Promoters build up fights and wait too long, like with Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. That fight should. I was saying that fight should have been happened. I was saying Wilder versus AJ should have been happened. I was, and so it wasn't like I'm not trying to be a hater for one person because I've done the same thing for everybody. The goal of my thing is to tell the story of the sport the right way and let people know, hey, keep fighters' feet to the fire. All fighters' feet. I don't care who you are. My favorite fighters know you anyway. That brother still got to do what he's supposed to do. When Nakatani comes out to 122, brother, you get him. Akhtamaliyev, who's now in legitimate talks, who's been talked about for a couple years, though I didn't think he was on the level of it in a way. Now that you've beaten about everybody that you need to beat, except for Sam Goodman, if he's still there, okay, take him. And he's taking him, or seemingly talking in talks of taking him. Junto, you better live up to what you said when it came to you fighting 2 more times at 120 and then moving up to 122. Because that's what you said you wanted to do. I've been keeping that same thing. We're expecting Bam Rodriguez to inevitably move up to 120 and get more titles, more mega fights, more big events. Potentially, if he moves up sooner, but Junto's last fight could be against Bam Rodriguez in his first fight, both at 122. That's great. That's phenomenal. But either way, we're saying at some point in time, if the stars do align and stuff is actually applicable, those 3 are going to be in a Russian roulette of potentially running the world of the best 3 boxers in the game. But when it gets to that point, and we see that stuff should be made and it ain't being made, brother, we got a problem. I got a problem. Especially if it's in the same way that we've seen other fighters in other divisions, like Tyson Fury, like Canelo, and others not take the initiative to make the fights that are a no-brainer, that would make big money, and that would indeed elevate your legacy even in a loss. So we're always about winning in everything. You don't need to win all time, at every time. Winning is the ultimate thing. But doggone it, winning ain't the only thing that defines you. It's not. But Joshua Buatsi just gained a bunch of fans off his loss to Callum Smith. Genuine. Like, this is not, we've seen countless times. Marlon Tapales, with this fight against Inoue, gained a fan out of me and a bunch of other people to say, oh, shoot, this brother gave a great fight to Inoue. I want to see what he does next. How does he improve? What does he learn from this? All of this stuff makes it so that you, as the fan, get what you're supposed to get, which is quality fights on a consistent, as much of a consistent basis as possible, to help truly validate who is great and who isn't there yet. If we continually just let this stuff pass by, we will never get an opportunity to truly see how far can you go. The perfect comparison and this American debate is hot. Hey, look, man. Look, we're not arguing, but it's passionate because we want people to understand. And excuse me, I'm not trying to miss everybody's points. Please excuse me if I'm missing some of your chats. My goodness, I apologize. But this is on the whole. Because we understand what the world of boxing is, it's corruption, it's deceitfulness, it's scumminess, from the likes of Don King all the way to even some of the promoters of today. We understand it. But we also understand we have seen people, in terms of boxers, push to get what they really want. Push to be tested, call out stuff, and want to make it happen, actively pursue that road to greatness. There have been other boxers who talk about themselves as great. There is a difference in talking it out and walking it out. It's not even about you trying to achieve it, or it's not even about you if you do achieve it or not. The goal is the journey. The goal is the constant understanding that at some point I got to be tested in showing what I'm about if I want to leave my mark. Because you have to understand, with legacy comes money. With legacy comes acclaim. Canelo didn't become Canelo before that brother went through the fire. We talk about how Tank is being we want him to move up and fight above his weight. Do you know why we talk about that? Because in the very same era that he's in, we have seen other people who are turning into all-time greats, like with Naoya Inoue, like with Usyk, who just fought Tyson Fury, who was 40 pounds heavier than him. We've seen in the past, the best example, Roberto Duran, go through multiple divisions, from welterweight all the way up to light heavyweight, win titles, beat some of the best, fought all four kings at their respective weight. Do you understand that? He fought all four kings at their weight class. He fought Leonard at welterweight. He fought Hearns, I believe, at middleweight. He fought Hagler, I believe, at middleweight. And then he went up to light heavyweight. Like, this was a brother who beat Iran Barkley. And what was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. This is the man who was the hands of at 135. He's dusting everybody. Moved up, fought Leonard. Fought him again, but context surrounding why he lost. It wasn't just because Leonard fought his own style, the second fight, but also because the brother was genuinely out of shape, partying, had taken the fight on short notice, and was like, yeah, no mas, because I am physically not prepared to fight this fight. I have not done any road work, any training. I let myself go. And I took this fight before I had the time to get myself right. That's go look it up. Legitimately, that's true. But still, the no mas fight. But still, he fought him. He still fought him a second time when he had no business fighting him at that point in time because of where he was with his body. He was not prepped at all. He still went in the ring with him. He moved up. The brother fought all the way to 175. How is it that we can look at Tank and say how great you are And we're saying the same thing about you that we're saying the same about Roberto Duran from the standpoint of you can transcend eras and weight classes. And Henry Armstrong did the same thing. I believe Archie Moore fought at light heavyweight and heavy. Ezra Charles. There are so many names in history that have actively done this and have actively shown you that if you are indeed as great as you are, then do what greatness does. What the world? If we saying a knife can cut through butter and then you don't try to cut the knife through butter, well then why are you having the knife in the first place? If we say that you can hit like a rock and you can knock out the best in your division and beyond, but then you never go and knock out those same people, go and fight those same people, well then what is it our fault? Is it my fault that I'm looking at you and I'm saying I am putting you in the same vein as Roberto Duran and other greats, Sugar Ray Leonard and other greats from the standpoint of your talent transcends eras, decades, and weight classes. And you are not even trying to do the best at the weight class that you are at. What is it about me that becomes a hater when you are not living up to the legacy that you say you deserve? It'd be different if I was just saying, you're a bum, you can't fight, your power ain't real, you ain't got nothing special, you ain't nothing spectacular, your defense is nothing serious. If you couldn't land a shot, you wouldn't actually be able to win because you lose all of your rounds up until you actually get the knockout. If anybody's able to survive you and win 7 rounds in a fight, you have no chance of winning because if you can't get the KO, there's no hope. If you want me to be a hater, that would be the hater. If you want me to be a hater, I would say that, brother, you couldn't beat Shakur. You want me to be a hater? I would say that, brother, Devin Haney, even though he got worked by the likes of Ryan Garcia, would outbox you. You want me to be a hater? I can be a hater, but I don't want to be a hater. I can be that. I can be that. But doggone it, it's stupid to be a hater. Because we want Tank to be great. I want Tank to be great. But if I don't see Tank doing that same stuff that I know I've seen other greats do, and he's in those same conversations as those greats were at their prime, which was the best in their era, I'm saying, like, if we know he did it, and we're saying that you have a skill set that can do a similar type of thing, we're not even saying you got to be just as good as him. I'm not even saying you got to eclipse Durant. I'm not even saying you got to do any of those types of aspects. But what I am saying is that you have an obligation to yourself not to rob yourself of what you can be as a boxer. I don't want Tank sitting at home saying, dang it, I could wish I had done more. I don't want Tank to be seen as somebody who everybody is saying the brother didn't accomplish anything. I don't want Tank to be seen as somebody who ain't special. But doggone it, he is. Listen, let's see. Tank is doing what makes business sense in his team, or business sense to him and his team. Boxing is a business, and Tank this week outsold Riyadh season last week. So he's doing something very right. Now, numbers wise, I can't validate that. I would have to see the numbers on pay-per-view, but I strongly, from a pay-per-view standpoint, I'm gonna wait till after the weekend to figure out how those pay-per-view numbers are. I do know that a bunch of people did tune in to the Riyadh season card. And I do know that was, everybody's at this point is saying, buddy, y'all paying, if you pay $80 for this, you getting robbed. And so I'm saying, hey, we'll wait for the financial ticket stuff afterwards. I'm not going to jump the gun. Again, there's other people that track that on other channels more fervently than me, so you can absolutely go look it up. More on this channel, we stick to the fighters as a whole, the fights that are the main thing. But financially, please go look up for yourself and find other more reputable business side of boxing channels and sources that can give you a better full picture of what exactly the ticket sales, all the financial stuff behind it is going into play. No question. I know where I am. I know what I'm good at, and I know where I lack it. That's one of the things where I lack it, because I can't give you that level of information. But validate for yourself. No question about it. Like with anything. Like with everything on this show, for those of you who listen, validate for yourself. I am here to entertain. I'm here to give you fun. I'm here to make your morning or afternoon great, give you some good, thought-provoking stuff, have some fun, have some laughs, potentially help you learn, but regardless of which, help promote the sports world as a whole, and be reliable for you to say, hey, agreeing or disagreeing, regardless of how I feel, the brother doesn't know what he's talking about. That's the biggest thing. That's all. But with everything I say, validate it for yourself. Research it for yourself. Find out for yourself from reputable sources. But find out for yourself so you can be informed. Because you never just want to take anybody's word for granted. Never want to take anybody's word for solid foundation. Back it up by validating if what they're saying is true or not. So you can make sure you get the true understanding for yourself. I'm just here to give you the best that I can of what I know to you. Because again, I feel like that's what you deserve. But again, let's see. Let's see what people have to say. The business thing, okay, we cover the business thing. Durant could get over 150 pounds. Tank is 5'3" and will never get that big. We have never seen Tank bigger than 140. That's perfectly fine. Let me give you a name real quick. Let me see. Let me see. Let's look up. There's two people that I would love to look up when it comes to this type of endeavor. When we're talking about greatness, talking about Tank, and talking about his ability to be able to truly go and push himself to beyond the heights of the weight class, if that is indeed true. Gervonta Durant, yep, 5'7", got up to 170 at one point, but fought majorly. Went from 130, 135, all the way up to again, light heavyweight, which still, at 5'7", fighting up at light heavyweight is ridiculous. Like that, it's still preposterous, but the point still stands. But regardless of which, let's go. Let's go. I'll show you another name. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. Yep, here we go. Let me show you another name. Let me pull it up let me pull it up on the picture. If Tank beats their pay-per-view sales, this is embarrassing. Now I will say that. And again, I'm about to bring up another name for you all to see why I'm contextualizing what Tank can be. But again, real quick, let me go while it's loading up. Let me go through the comments again. Yeah, if Tank beats their pay-per-view sales this week, it's embarrassing. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. In terms of from like all types of money, it shouldn't. Now, if it does, it speaks to the power of Tank. No question. He's still a big star. I'm not downplaying that. But this for this card, this is not. Do you think it's worth $80? I don't. I truly don't. There's one brother who said, "What, Fire Stick Boys back outside?" Who was that? Two-Tone the adult? Is it Two-Tone? What's that? Two-Tone the superstar? Is that his thing? Fire Stick Boys, we outside. Fire Stick Boys, we back outside. I believe that's what he always says. Again, follow his channel if you can. There's some good content there on Twitter and on YouTube. But regardless of which, like, expect for a lot of people to go through it. Just be prepared. For those of you who watched the card last week and are getting ready to see this card this week, be prepared to potentially see a lot of pirated streams for this fight. Hypothetical again, but let's see. Good debate show. Hey man, I appreciate it. That's what we're trying to do. We're not hating. This is all fun. This is all great. This is what helps drive the sport. We want this type of conversation. We want this type of rhetoric. You can be a fan of who you're a fan of. Support, have your opinions, absolutely. If I change your mind, great. If I don't, that's great also. But I'm here to give you a full context picture to help you understand, regardless of what your position is, understand what the whole of what we're dealing with is. Regardless of which side of the coin that you follow. And I can respect both sides of the coin. That's why you never see me going at people and being like, you're now I'll say it in jest, like, you stupid, get out of here, you ridiculous. But in terms of like genuinely, I don't attack people. I ain't got no business trying to say that, you don't know what you're talking about. You know something. And even if you don't know a lot, that may just be that you're uninformed. It may just be that you just want to think what you think. I respect it. This whole thing is about respect. Absolutely. But the biggest thing is, to my best of my ability, I'm just trying to help people understand specifically the whole of, not say the issue, but the whole of the picture. Paint the brush in its proper way. Interpret it how you want. Because again, you're you. And we love you. We appreciate you. We're glad that you're here. We really do. We value your opinion. We value your outlook. We value your presence in this chat, on this show, and genuinely bringing what you bring to the table. Because without you, there is no sports world. Without you, there is no conversation. Without you, there's nothing. All of this means nothing without you. And so, no, I'm never going to disrespect how people feel one way or another. No. But I am going to say what I feel is excuse me. I am going to say what I feel is right. But it's only because I'm trying to make it so that I'm perpetuating a quality type of environment to have discussions like this. Because this is great. This is absolutely phenomenal. This is exactly what we need. When it comes to, Tank has a great card. No question. It's just the main event. People pay for the main event more than just the card of the past decade or so. And that is the truth. The fact that card for Saudi Arabia was $25 and had everything, including a quality main event. That was like, oh shoot, if it was $80 for that, I'd pay that in a heartbeat. Because that's worth the price of admission, top to bottom. Not only people, most people, not saying all, but most people don't care about the whole of the card. If the main event lives up to what they think, they'll shell out money. But in this situation, with what we saw last week with Saudi Arabia, that card was an $80 card. Shoot, that card was a $100 card. Even with all the stuff going about, with stuff getting, people getting sick and having to do with play. That card was, that was a $100 card. We're being completely honest. And it was worth every price. For this, don't get me wrong, I'm not disrespecting the card, but there is levels to the quality. I would argue there is a stark level to the quality between the two. But regardless of which, we're still going to be excited to see the fight. No question about it. But let's see. Ali, excuse me. Let me see. Ali Baliha. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. How you doing? Good to see you. Appreciate you joining in on the show. Is the sports app where you can get the fight, or is there a sports app where you can get the fight for free? So there are apps. How do we say this? How do we say this under the table? There are applications that you can see the fight for free. Now, do I give them up? I wouldn't, because I don't want them bitches to get banned. We're already getting stuff knocked off left, right, and center for the fire stick people that choose to use the illegal means, for those of you who choose to use them. But there are plenty of sites that you can find online if you want to see the fight for free that you can watch, or go to your local bar. Ironically enough, there's a lot of bars that be showing boxing. So go look up your local bar, and potentially there'll be one that you'll be able to go in and see it outright as well. So again, but I can't give them up, because if I do, no, we could get them annexed. We already had what was it? Big one. Meth streams got taken down. And that was trending on Twitter. But that took everybody's heart. Oh, gosh. That took everybody. People were coming to me, and they were like, oh, shoot. Oh, no. What do we do now? So now everybody's been more to the chest when it comes to But you can look them up, or again, go to your local bar, and they'll probably have them as well. Is the Barclays venue bigger than the one in Saudi? Yeah, it is. It is. The Barclays venue is bigger than the venue that they had in Saudi Arabia. Oh, no question. It seats like 15, 16,000 people. Similar to Los Angeles or Staples Center. I'm not calling it crypto. Staples Center sits about 17,000, upwards of 18 to 20 if you also counting floor seats all the way if it's a boxing event. So yeah, no, Barclays Center is indeed bigger than the same that they had in Saudi Arabia. So that could also quell into why the on-site ticket sales, were the way that they were in a bigger stadium. Hey, I guarantee you, if they put that on in a bigger stadium, shoot, my gosh, that would have done droves. That would have done droves in my estimation. But again, Tank already sold 19K tickets. They moved the Saudi Arabia fight from a 20K venue to a 6K venue, and still did not sell out. And so yeah, that's the case. Again, I'll look it up. I'll validate. But all I know is that one venue's been bigger than another. Barclays is bigger than the one that they had in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if they moved it or not. If this is indeed true, then hey, it's the truth. Okay, but I'll look it up to verify just to make sure. And so yeah, okay, yeah, so you're right about that one. The card, that card in Saudi Arabia business is underwater. More than $100 million. Can't compare to Tank. Tank business is pop. Well, again, Tank is a business, no question about it. Tank is indeed a business, but understand what. Real quick, and we're going to go back to Tank with the whole fight aspect with him moving up. But real quick, understand what's going on in Turkey al-Sheikh and Saudi Arabia. They're trying to implement a stable boxing community in Saudi Arabia right now. But they're pushing to have events in the States. And the events that they're having in the States are going to be mega events. So we're seeing Tank do this stuff now. But I promise you, in the future, we're going to start seeing more of these bigger time fights, not just located in Saudi Arabia. Mind you, Canelo versus Crawford is about to come through in Las Vegas. I believe that's been confirmed with that 4th fight deal that Canelo has. That fight's happening in the States. That fight's happening in America. That fight's under the Riyadh season Saudi Arabian contractual threshold. And once this touches down, and on top of what, again, in a way and others coming to America, we're getting more big fights that are going to be exactly where Tank is. And I promise you, when that happens, and we see these big time types of events happening on the soil that many people would like it to have happen, it's going to be major. Remember, Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois was also under the Saudi card. And that fight broke Wembley Stadium attendance records. That fight broke, it was breaking records. It was. And that was under Saudi Arabia. And that was, mind you, you got to understand, this wasn't even Fury versus Joshua in their prime. And this broke the all-time attendance record in Wembley Stadium. And so when they put it when they put it in primetime spots, it fits the bill. And it indeed does make bank. And so be prepared. More and more, we're going to see more fights happening in their more local types of venues. In Europe and the UK and the US and all that stuff. And when you do, you're going to see the turnout. Because now, understand, America's starting to take notice. We're not the end-all be-all, no question. But the globe, including America, is starting to take notice of the quality of boxing cards, events, and fights that we're getting on a more consistent basis. That we complained about people like Tank, Canelo, Fury, and others not giving us on an average day-to-day basis. UFC fans are used to it because, again, on the UFC cards, they consistently, for the majority, have banger after banger, consistently having quality top-to-bottom type talent on terms of, for the whole card. Matchups that make sense, fights that are highly anticipated on average, beyond just the main event. And they sell out just about every time. When it comes to Turkey, once he starts fully implementing, putting boxing in their respective meccas more often, like America, Las Vegas, New York, Wembley, and others in the UK and around Europe, you'll see you'll see that trend. You'll see it shift and change. You mark my words, you will, because now there's an appetite. Now there's an appetite. You can't tell me that if you got a consistent card like that in the States, headlined by, again, some of the biggest names in America, which will be headlined. You couldn't tell me that if Tank was on a Saudi Arabian card and he was fighting whoever, but the card was as stacked as it was for the fight with Bivol and Beterbiev. Don't tell me that fight wouldn't make bank. Don't tell me that fight wouldn't sell. Don't tell me that fight wouldn't do egregious numbers. Not just because of Tank, but because of the event as a whole. They're building a brand of excellence beyond just one fight. And as it grows, because remind you, we're getting out of the Floyd Mayweather era. We're getting out of the only mega fights for stuff that ain't really worth mega fights. We're starting to get out of it. More consistently, slowly, but more consistently, we're getting better opposition, constantly getting in the ring with each other. We can, even with us lamenting it, there is no denying that we witnessed a shift in 2023 going into this year. More undisputed champions than we've ever seen in this quick of a time. Legitimate big-time fights happening back to back to back, at least a couple every single year that actually have us looking forward to it. It's got, the landscape of boxing has gotten better. Turkey has helped expedite that expectation and start to shift the minds of fans, casual and hardcore, of what boxing's supposed to look like from an entertainment and consistent value standpoint. That's what we're witnessing. They already got an event in New York going outside. Like they used to. You remember they used to do back in the day when you could come through and you would have like, they had this venue on Fight Night. Well, they have Fight Night round 2. They'd have like a venue in a carnival. They have a venue in like in the middle of a city and all this stuff, backdrop and all. And you could see people like coming in and just piling up to see the fight in the street. Turkey's doing that in New York, I believe, come this year or next year, where anybody can come through and see the fight. That type of atmosphere for excellence. It's a slow, but I believe it's going to be an effective media marketing strategy to get people and the casuals fans, the average man and woman, invested or at least knowledgeable. Hey, we got some stuff going on. Who doesn't want to see a good fight? And we'll give you quality fights on the whole. Make it easier, more easily accessible. Make it more affordable. Make it so that now the only people that ain't paying money ain't just people that got $100,000, $200,000 in the bank. That ain't making 6 or 7 figures. That ain't not like real big fans are able to actually get to the sport. Most of the big fans aren't rich. I'm not calling them poor. I'm not calling anybody poor. But I'm saying we've seen this in sports. People get priced out, marketed out. Lakers games, many fans can't afford it. For celebrities and people that got all this money or big business or whatever the case may be, they can go. But the average fan got to watch from home if you want to see the Lakers play, especially if it's a primetime game. And so it's like making it easier for the average fan, the average person, to see and witness quality boxing will then garner a bigger audience to be able to have them to pay more consistently, which will in turn, revenue starts rising up. So, I mean, it looks like a net loss now, but just wait, it's building up. It is indeed building up for the better. And so, mark my words, ain't no fire stick off my table. Ain't no fire stick is off. My tablet is on. There's no fire stick. Okay, look, there's going to be plenty of people that going to be looking, whatever the case may be. People going to be seeing that fight. But regardless of which, real quick, one more thing about Tank. Before we went on the whole tirade. When we talk about why we talk about him, we want to see him move up. Take a look at this real quick as I go through and set it up real quick. George Foreman was a phenomenal fighter, was he not? Yes, he was. Was incredible. Again, we know who Foreman is. One of the greatest heavyweights and just boxers, period, that we've seen in history. genuinely a transcendent talent across decades. Now, within his career, understand he fought everybody. Indeed did fight everybody. But one of the people that he fought also was somebody that you wouldn't expect. And that person would be the likes of Muhammad Quasi. Or is it Quasi? I believe it's Quasi. Let me show you. Take a look at this as I blow it up. Dwight Muhammad Quasi, who, again, he knocked out in 7 rounds, fighting a heavyweight. Muhammad, excuse me, is it Quawa? Excuse me. This brother was 5'6", and was able to fight not just a light heavyweight, but a heavyweight, and get to be able to be in championship contendingship. Fighting, again, the likes of George Foreman and others. And was only, on average, weighed under 190. On average, even when he fought the likes of George Foreman. When he fought George Foreman, yeah, he was 235 as heaviest, but even still, Holyfield, he was 187, fighting heavyweight, light heavyweight to heavyweight. And so, again, but he is 5'6", going up against some of the biggest people in the world at this division. Another one, I'll look it up right now. Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's 5'5". Shakur Stevenson, based on BoxRec, is 5'5" and a half. Manny Pacquiao, 5'5" and a half. 67-inch reach. Tank, his reach is 67 inches. Height, weight, the same. And this brother was coming up from 106. In fact, the man lied about how much he weighed so he could actually get to fight. He was weighing in at 98 pounds. He was not 100 pounds when he first got into the ranks of boxing. At all. And this brother went from 106, essentially 98 pounds, to 110, to 112, to 114, to 116. Going all the way up to 122. And then moved up again to 125. Then went up to 130. Then 135. Then 140 and 145. Then 147. And stayed at 147 for the latter half of his career. And this man is the same size as Tank Davis. He is the same size as Tank Davis. Roberto Duran is 2 inches higher and weighed in at 175. Muhammad Quasi is as tall as Roberto Duran, and he fought at light heavyweight and heavyweight. And was one of the more high-profile boxers in terms of hard-to-beat talents in the division. So when we look at and saying that people are, you shouldn't be able to do it. But when others have done it and been successful, and we see you as of the same caliber from a talent perspective as in these names, an all-time great of this era, one of the best talents that we have in the modern day, somebody who we know can do this and is built the same way as, again, a Manny Pacquiao, who also did it, similar built to Roberto Duran, who also did it. Why is it that you couldn't do the same? There's too many people that have done what we know you can do, that have the talent that you have. And if you are as talented as you are, go and show us by doing that same thing. At minimum, just handling the business within your own circle. That's why. That's why we have the standard that we have. Because it's not just because of what you are. It's because of what we've seen other people do. And so, again, that's the last thing I can say on that regard. But again, it's been still good conversation. Ain't it crazy that we still got more to cover on this show, ironically enough, beyond just the likes of Tank Davis. And we spent, a good amount of time on that. We can, if we really want to be serious, we can talk about, honestly, actually, which way y'all want to go? Y'all want to go to Chris Eubanks versus Conor Ben? Fight prediction and potentially watching the live stream right now. I would show it, but I can't show it because, copyright infringement. I don't want to get sued. But going and analyzing that whole press conference in real time with you as you're watching it on your own thing. Or we could talk through the likes of Pound for Pound And genuinely, I think pound for pound, because Ring Magazine just put out a pound for pound rankings of their own with who indeed is the best in the world per their own metrics and per their rankings, as again the over 120 plus year history, 110 year history of what we see with these two, or what we see with the legacy as a whole, is indeed incredible. But in fact, I'll pull it up real quick. Let me pull it up real quick. As we go through the pound for pound rankings in the top 10 in the world, as of right now, this is the list. This is the list right here. Usyk, Inoue, Crawford, Bivol, Better BF, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Canelo, Tank, Junto, and Devin Haney. Now, most of this list I can agree with. Usyk being number 1, yes. Inoue being number 2, yes. Crawford being number 3, absolutely, yes. Bivol and Better BF, again, at this point, they might as well be tied. 2 of them could take out 1 slot as the 4th spot. But either way, with Bivol winning, sure, put him ahead of Better BF. Better BF earned that 4th slot when he beat Bivol. Now it flip-flop back. Bivol deserves that slot above Better BF at this point in time. Still want to see that trilogy, and that trilogy is going to be phenomenal. Ben Rodriguez, getting the respect that he deserves, dominating through the lower ranks of the divisions, looking as one of the best boxers in the world. Yes, he's ranked above Canelo Alvarez. I got Canelo at 7th. Actually, no. Excuse me. I don't have Canelo at 7th, but Canelo at 7th, understandable. Now this is where stuff gets tricky for me. Tank, Junto, and Devin Haney. Do they deserve to be in the pound for pound as the bottom 3 rounding out? Now, Devin Haney, I don't think so. Tank, I don't think so. Junto, I do. Now, who puts in place of them? We'll get to that later. But when we look at the standpoint of who deserves to be in the pound for pound when we round out those last 3, I want to hear from you. Do you believe that Tank is a pound for pound top 10 fighter? And do you believe that Devin Haney is a top 10 pound for pound fighter? In your opinion, in your eyes, do you feel that this list of having Tank, Inoue, or to me Tank, Devin Haney, and Junto as the rounding out the last 3, because I agree with you about everything else on the list, do you think that's justified? Because at least when it comes to Devin Haney, I don't think it should be there. And when it comes to Tank, I don't think it should be there. Because of the fact of, especially recently, both of them have been looking, especially with this fight with Lamont Roach. It's hard for me to put them there. It really is. It really is. I got Tank outside in fact, I even said it before. I took Tank out of my top 10 because of him taking this fight with Lamont Roach. Because this completely undermined what it means to be a pound for pound fighter. When it comes to Devin Haney, undefeated, yes, no contest, suing and all that stuff. Getting a whole nother conversation that we've already discussed. But do we value him as a pound for pound fighter anymore with how much he got destroyed by the likes of Ryan Garcia in that fight? And potentially, if we see that happen again, sure enough, he shouldn't be there. And there's 2 people that I think should take those 2 spots. 2 people. For me, 2 people that I think that should take those 2 spots when it comes to the pound for pound rankings. And again, I want to hear from you. Also, I would love to hear your opinions, your thoughts on this whole situation. Because this is an inclusive type of show. No question about it. But for me, I got Kenshiro Tajiri. Or Taraji, excuse me. I got him at 10th. And then I got David Benavidez taking the place of Tank Davis. I do. I got Benavidez taking the place of Tank Davis. I got Kenshiro Taraji taking place of Devin Haney. Then I got Benavidez taking place of Tank Davis. And it's because Benavidez of this last couple fights, consistently throughout his entire career, especially now, has been pushing boundaries, pushing limits, still operating like a monster, facing off against killers, legitimately great people, making his own legacy and pushing himself in position to still challenge the best available on a night-to-night basis, without qualms, without issues, without stipulations. And unlike the likes of Tank Davis, has continued to test himself against the best available option and continue to come out on top and still look as dominant as we've seen. Not from the standpoint of knocking people out. Sure, his power isn't the same at the division, but regardless of which, every other thing about him has indeed been elevated. His defense has gotten better. His stamina is getting better at 175. His ring IQ has improved. His offensive repertoire is still evolving, and even now is great, dominant, incredible. Still landing at opponents at 40%. Still beating people like, again, Gervonta. Beating people like the likes of, getting ready to face off against people like, again, either Benavidez or Bevo. Could fight, again, Callum Smith next, who just had a phenomenal showing. And so with the consistent body of constant, real quality names, Caleb Plant, Boo Boo Andre, David Lemieux, going through. In fact, shoot, I'll pull up his resume to make sure I'm not overlooking something. I'll pull up to make sure I ain't overlooking something. Just to verify that I am indeed seeing what I'm seeing. No, this, like, he's gone through the ringer of consistent top talent. If you ain't Canelo, he's faced off against you. And he has genuinely done everything he can to beat you. And he's made everybody look the same, regardless of whether they're bigger, smaller, faster, slower, more physically gifted, more technically driven. Everybody has had the same fate. They get overwhelmed and beaten. Even at light heavyweight, where his power isn't the same. We understand that. He is still dominating in the same similar offensive, overwhelming fashion that we've witnessed all his career. And the consistent body of work all in both at 168 and at 175. It's like I don't know how he's not in more people's pound for pound. I genuinely don't. For me, I genuinely don't. But I want to hear what you all have to say. And let's see. Tank has talent, but nobody with a resume like his belongs on the pound for pound list. Haney is basically a weight bully. Hype job. No question. Both statements are true. Haney's been able to be successful because of his weight. But he still did become undisputed and had one of the best fights of the year with the likes of Lomachenko. And then beating Regis Prograis was indeed impressive. And on average, to get to undisputed, he has been fighting better names on the whole than we've seen with Tank Davis. Tank and his resume are not good enough to be put in the pound-for-pound conversation, especially when it has been essentially, he started being great and then stopped and went back down. And this fight does not do him any favors when it comes to the world of pound-for-pound conversation. And again, his talent, like I said before, is indeed a pound-for-pound talent. But it is the quality of work on top of who you are as a fighter, on top of the opponents that you face, the accolades that you achieve, the consistency at which you fight, and the dominating nature at which you beat opponents on average helps curate what you are as a pound-for-pound fighter. That, at least for me, that's about the best of my qualifications of what makes you there. And I don't think Tank should be there. I think Benavidez should be there. And you saying their list stinks? Hey, their list may stink. Honestly, I'm kind of confused on why they have that list the way that it is. Because I don't think anybody's having Devin Haney as a top 10 talent in the world anymore. I don't think so. And does that mean that if Ryan Garcia beats him the exact same way, dare I say if he knocks him out in the second fight, does he then take that list? Does he then take Devin Haney's spot? Does he? Does he? Genuinely, does he? Would he? By the logic of what Devin Haney's done of recent, especially with the whole array, or rather the whole feeling surrounding Devin Haney as being somebody who is to some degree a fraud. It's like, would it be? It's not out of the question to say that if you got Devin Haney there now, if Ryan Garcia beats him, some people are going to make an argument that Garcia should take that spot. Now, do I think that should be the case? No. But regardless of which, none of them, neither Devin Haney nor Ryan Garcia should be in that pound for pound, at least in my estimation. But let's see. An undefeated fighter with a 93% knockout percentage, not a top 10. Again, the pound for pound is more than just how good you are. Pound for pound, like I've said before, my criteria for pound that I think best encapsulates what it means to be on the list is the type of, how good of a talent you are as a boxer. Number one, the accolades that you achieve in your career. Number two, the names on your resume and the quality types of opponents. Number three, the consistency at which you fight. Number four. And then number five would be essentially how dominating are you comparative to not just your peers, but with the fights that you have on average. With the quality type of talent, how effectively do you beat them on a consistent basis? How much do you outclass them constantly? Helps, for me, perpetuate the pound for pound conversation. So it's not just about you being a knockout savant. It's not just about that. It's not. Because if that was the case, Wilder would be number one. Would he not? Would Deontay Wilder not be, in many people's eyes, the best in the world? Because he's knocking everybody out left, right, and center? And so your record should, and again, I hear you, but what is a record? What is a record? A record is not just a number. That's what you have to understand. A boxing record is not just a number. A boxing record is not just 50-0. A boxing record is not just 147 and 5. A boxing record is not just 63-3 or 63-3. The boxing record is more than that. Again, respectively, I'm naming Sugar Ray Robinson's, Marvin Hagler's, Floyd Mayweather's resume, and others. Or Pacquiao, 63-9, 39 KOs. It's more than just the number. What makes up that number? What makes up the substance of that record? Because if it was just the record, then yeah, there wouldn't be any critiques on Floyd, but there are. Because what makes up that record? If it was just the record, boxing would be retiring. We'd have a bunch of 30-0 people retiring because I ain't got nothing else to prove. It's your performance and who you fought. Your performance and who you fought makes up the value of what your record is. There's a brother right now who's trying to fight, what's his name? I think he's trying to fight Tank or trying to fight somebody. And he's had he's like 45-0 with like almost a perfect knockout ratio. But that brother ain't nothing exciting. He ain't nothing to write home about because the quality of talent he's been boxing is not great in the slightest. So the resume is built up. The numbers look good, but the quality of opponent ain't great in the slightest. It's not. It's like not at all. It's like, oh my gosh, you are genuinely just a hype job. Because you haven't fought anybody. All these knockouts, all this record, this high win ratio, undefeated, looking like a powerhouse, ain't because you're an actual powerhouse, but because you've been fighting people of all 45 fights that ain't worth a thing. With all due respect, ain't worth a thing. And so because of that, the resume is not just the only thing. It's got to be the substance of what makes up a quality fighter. The substance is what makes up the meat of a resume. The substance is what gives a resume legitimate credence. The substance makes the resume worthwhile. Without substance, the resume is just numbers. Without substance, the record is just meaningless. It's blasé. You can tear it down at the drop of a hat. You can't tear down Crawford's resume. You can't tear down the likes of, again, we want to go back old school. You can't tear down Ali's resume, Frazier Foreman. You can't tear down Inoue's resume back in the modern day. You can't tear down Usyk's resume. Joseph Parker, his resume is great, and his record is great. He is a great boxer. The likes of Sean Porter, who we all value as one of the best of the era at 140, or 147, because that brother took on every test. He fought everybody in the division. Canelo's resume is not just because he's got 60-something wins. It's because he went and faced off against quality names on most of those wins. And so that's what helps makes the resume actually worthwhile. Floyd Mayweather's resume, it's it's phenomenal. But even that's got cracks to it because of what happened. He fought some people at the right time. Certain situations where he didn't fight people they should have fought. And fighting Conor McGregor for your legitimate 50th win. When you have people like Ugas, we have people like Errol Spence, we have people like Keith Thurman in that division as well. Fighting Manny Pacquiao 5 years too late. Those critiques are legitimate gripes against his career. But even with those and a couple others, it is still his career set in stone. It's phenomenal because the substance was still there. There may be some problems, but the substance is still there to where, yeah, this man was indeed as good as he was. He beat Maidana, then he beat him again. He lost to Castillo. Yes, he did. He did lose to Castillo. He should have lost to Castillo. Castillo was legitimately wild double win, but he went back and ran the table and beat the brakes off him. He beat and knocked out Diego Corrales. Like he's had 2 separate stints in his career. He has beaten more world champions than just about anybody. He's been one of the most accurate punchers in history. And he's done it against quality people like Sugar Shane Mosley and others. Canelo. A young Canelo, but Canelo on the rise. At that point in time, was he 40-something? Was he 42 or 54 wins in his career? Somewhere around that range. One of the most highly touted boxers at, I believe 154. I believe he fought at the catchweight. And so, yeah. That substance makes up a fight. Substance makes up a fighter. Substance makes up a resume. Without substance, the numbers are just numbers. The knockouts are meaningless. The value in what you have done in your career is not validated unless you put it against people that are actually on that level of, yeah, that's a good win. That's a great win. That was a tough fight against a great opponent. You lost to somebody who was indeed an all-time great. You avenged it. All that stuff is indeed what makes the resume worth something. And it's a major part in what pound for pound actually means. You got to dig deeper when you're looking at what pound for pound actually stands for. Because if it's just knockouts, that means that there's going to be a lot of people that don't deserve to be on the list, that ain't an all-time great, or that ain't in pound for pound best in the world. Just the truth. You got to dig deeper into what the fights are, what the fighters are, and how, in fact, they got that resume that really makes the performances something to behold and makes the situation where, yeah, it's worth the hype. It's worth worth the ability. It is worth the value to be seen as you have submitted yourself as in the best in the land, in the whole of the boxing regime. Because you've been tried, you've been tested, and you showed up and showed out. That's what it means. And so that's my best interpretation of what pound for pound should be. And again, we've had this, we've talked, people brought this up before. Pound for pound is subjective. Pound for pound is absolutely subjective. Everybody has their own list. No question. No question. You can have whatever your list you have, that's your pound for pound list. My list doesn't have to be what your list is. Your list is. Your list ain't got to be what mine is. No, absolutely. The list is indeed subjective to everybody's preference. No question. But even with everybody's preference, there is a standard across the board that there are certain people that everybody does have. And when you look at why that's the case, that can help better acclimate what your list is. Doesn't mean that you need to change. But when you look at why everybody has the same people on their list and why some people are left out on other people's list, when you put it together and kind of look into it, you start to see, okay, there is a discrepancy. There is a different standard that it takes to be here. Does the fighter that I have on this list fit that standard or does he not? If he does, great. That's for you. No question. If he doesn't, make the right adjustment. But it's subjective and it's necessary. But it's necessary because if we don't have a pound for pound list, we need something. It's required to help dictate who indeed is the best in the world. Even though, yes, it is subjective and everybody can get bent out of shape about it. It's a precedent to set a standard for what greatness is today. I'm not saying it's got to be the end all be all, but you do need it because it sets a standard for what greatness should be in today's generation. You got to have it. And that's why I'm so adamant at making sure I'm as informed and knowledgeable. So when I give you this list, I'm giving you the best possible list I can imagine with everything taken into account so we can properly gauge what greatness is. And anybody who reaches that threshold or gets to that vein of top 10 pound for pound, now have you crossed this gap? Have you done what's on par with these people? If you have, now we can put it in proper context. But if you haven't, then you're just not there. But it gives you something to look for, to have a gauge as to what greatness truly is for today. Because without it, chaos and confusion. Without it, there's no standard. And without a standard, what is there for people to fight for? Without a bar to reach, what is there for you to work out for? What is there for you to go and chase? What is there for you to be seen? What title is there for you to grasp onto? What accolades and acclaims is there for you to actually vouch for? If there is no standard for what does and doesn't get you into that pound for pound. And even though with everybody it's subjective, there's got to be a standard. Because if there isn't, then anybody can just get in. Undeserving people can get in. And some people that are deserving may get left out for the wrong reason. And it's like, it can become an issue. It can be a major issue. And we don't want that. At least I would. So have your list. Have your fun. Enjoy everything that you want. No question. I'm not going to hate. I'll never hate. I can disagree, but I don't hate. But when we look at what should make up pound for pound, take my criteria at least as a potential blueprint. If you don't agree with it, no problem. Absolutely. Have your list and make it your own. But understand, when you make this list, you are making a threshold of if somebody is to get up to this level, they must reach this type of production, talent, accolades, and acclaim. And if somebody's there that has one of those aspects in a high regard, but not others, maybe going back and look over your list could help open your eyes to some things potentially. Or keep it the same, depending on how you feel. Regardless of which, make your list and have your fun. But I believe now we've talked about everything that I need to cover on this show. Unless y'all, I believe that's about everything that we need to cover on this show. And with that being said, I guess it's time for the best part of the show. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm almost there. Hold on. There we go. Are we here? Oh, yeah, we're here. Oh, yeah, we're here. Now it's time for the championship rounds. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time to make the show your own. We got 30 minutes to an hour. Whatever you want to talk about in the world of sports, we can discuss it right now. No question. We can talk about it. Have your say. Have your piece. Whatever other debates that you want to have. Whatever other arguments you want to have. Whatever other types of questions, comments, concerns. Whether it's about basketball. Whether it's about boxing. Whether it's about the NBA. Whether it's about video games, anime, movies, you name it. We'll talk about it. No, I'm here for it. Absolutely. I am here for it all. And I'm excited to see it. Also, there was somebody in the chat, I think last week, that talked about how they got tickets to the game. Was it Al Booger who came through? If it is Al Booger, if you're here, brother, please verify with me if that's the case, because I would love to hear how you won it, and I would love to see if I can have a board. If you know, if you know what I'm saying, if I can go through, if I can mooch off of you and get some stuff and get some tickets of my own, who knows? Oh boy, but no. But in all seriousness, again, Al Booger, if you are here, please come through and tell us how you won the tickets. I would love to hear if it was you that won the tickets. I think you talked about it last show, and I saw it, but it was right when we saw Eubanks slap the mess out of Conor Ben. And so I think that's what. But regardless of which, again, we'll love to hear your thoughts, love to hear your opinions, want to hear what you got to say. Let's see what you got in the chat down below. As we're going through and clicking through, we got people showing up. When will you have a live show? When will you do a live show on Fight Night? So this weekend, I won't be able to do a live show this weekend. Got some pre-obligated stuff. I'm still watch the fight, but won't be able to do a live fight show for this week. But mark my words, with the next live commentary that I do on this stream, I will put it out. I'll let you know well in advance. Trust me, like we did for the Saudi card with Bevo and Better BF, we'll do that again for another fight. Oh, trust and believe. Mark my words. We love doing this. That's why I get most of my subscribers. If I'm being completely honest. if I'm being completely honest. But regardless of which, not. We'll do another one. But I won't be able. Sadly, I won't be able to do the Tank fight and call it with you all. Sadly, got some predisclosed obligations I gotta take care of. But regardless of which, we're gonna break it down afterwards. And more throughout the year. We'll call fights. You'll see me call anyway fights at 6 in the morning. You'll see me call big fights in the afternoons on Saturday. Again, it ain't gonna be every fight. It can't be every fight. I gotta be smart with my stuff. But trust and believe. Most, if not all, major fights, if I can do it, and I got the availability to, oh yeah, I'll do it. Absolutely. So I will let you know when I'm going to do another live show for the next fight card. I'll announce it. We'll do a big banner, do a whole big shindig about it. Absolutely, it'll be incredible. So I'll let you know when I do another big time live fight commentary card. But it's gonna be soon. It's gonna be very soon. Just won't be able to be with Tank because I got some stuff I gotta do on the flip side that same weekend also. And so I won't be able to do what I want to do with you all, sadly. But I'll still watch the fight, no question about it. But regardless of which, again, whatever you all want to discuss, whether it's about the NBA, do you want to talk about Luka and how he went up against the Mavericks in one of the most highly anticipated games that we've seen from the standpoint of revenge versus regret for the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers? Again, the brother had with a 17 point, 15 rebound, 10 assists, triple-double on the night, still getting acclimated. Something's off with the scoring, but regardless of which, brother, he was looking more like Luka than we had seen since shoot that 32-point game. So this looks to be with what this team can be as the Los Angeles Lakers right now, barring injury. Hey, this team's been on a run. This team's been on a tear. They've won without AD. They've won with AD. And now without a true big man at all. And with Luka, they have been on a roll of recently. Solidified themselves at fourth in the West, upwards, pushing closer to third in the Western Conference, the deepest conference in the NBA right now. Hey, mark my words, this team is looking to be something serious. This team's looking to be something insane. Also, with MVP now that we're at the second half of the season, if you do want to talk basketball, we're looking at a situation where, shoot, brother, this MVP rate is starting to be a little bit difficult, is it not? This MVP situation for the whole of the league is starting to get a little bit tighter. Do we still value Jason Tatum as one of the best players in the world? Yes, we do. Is he in the MVP conversation? Sure he is, but he's falling down the list. Donovan Mitchell being in the MVP talks should be of higher acclaim because of what he is leading that team to do in this season with this Cleveland Cavaliers squad looking like one of the best well-oiled machines in all of the league. Offensively and defensively, looking incredible. Going and absolutely, like, you want to talk about legitimate quality, chemistry, and insane level of talent. This is like, it's stupid. It's stupid what they're doing. And this team, honestly enough, do people buy into what this team could be in Cleveland? Some people are saying it could be a ruse. Some people are saying that this could be a fluke. A blasé situation. There's no need to actually buy into what this Cleveland squad is doing. They're going to fall flat, wait until the playoffs, then boom, they're going to drop dead. That's what many, not we, but many people expect. But I don't see that. I don't. I really don't. Because you have to understand what this team is doing on both ends of the floor is indeed phenomenal. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, they're closer to 50. They're closer to 50 wins than about anybody else in the but then about anybody else in the league. Like they're about to be the first team to hit 50. They have been on a tear. 9-1 in the division. They got the best. I believe they got the best point differential of the entirety of the NBA as a whole. They got 4 All-Star. We're playing like 4 All-Star caliber people in Evan Mobley, in Donovan Mitchell, in Garland, and in Jared Allen. And so, I mean, they're just working. They are just working. The next best team is Boston. That's supposed to be the most well-oiled machine in the entire NBA. And they're, 6 games above them? Ridiculous. Ridiculous, man. I'm telling you. This team is, and also, you want to talk about a team that is actually surprising. And you want to talk about a team that's genuinely giving you some cause to say, wait a minute, we may have something brewing. What's going on in Detroit? Brother, wait a minute. What's going on in Detroit? Cade Cunningham, who they're now calling the Paradox, which, again, I think they need to redo the name. I don't think that really fits them. But regardless of which, what is a paradox is how that Detroit squad has turned into one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, and all of a sudden, 7-game win streak, looking to be of recently one of the more hot teams in the entirety of the league. They're going through and they're having competent play, competent coaching, a leadership in Cade Cunningham that is absolutely driving the whole of this Detroit squad to looking like a brand new machine, Literally, the Pistons are running like a well-oiled car. It is like, are you kidding me? Malik Beasley has been playing great. Is it Sir Thompson? Brother of Amen Thompson? I believe that's. Let me make sure I got it right. Yep. Sir Thompson, looking just like similar to his brother, but on the defensive end. Michael Beasley playing great as a player from what he was looking like on the likes of the Lakers when he played and in Milwaukee. I mean, it's ridiculous. Tobias Harris is all of a sudden looking competent when that brother was looking like one of the biggest, I don't want to call him a bust. He ain't a bust, but one of the biggest drags on not just the Pistons, but in the whole of the NBA. Jalen Dirt turning one of the best rebounders of the league at only 6'9". Everybody's got a motor. Everybody can work. Everybody can move. Offense, whether defense is looking to be something serious. I mean, this is great. Oh, can you believe it? They got a foundation. They're not going to win anything. Don't get me wrong. Not going to make a deep run in the playoffs. But they got a foundation, which they didn't have before, which shocked us all. Led by an all-star who's going to be one of the best point guards, who's already one of the best point guards in the league. We could see this brother legitimately averaging 30 next season. 36-9, hypothetically, as he continues to evolve in his young career in Cade Cunningham. Brother, Detroit, the East needs to look out. If this young core gets healthy, let alone if they get another piece in the offseason, oh boy, everybody better be at least concerned. Keep an eye out. Because this ain't the Detroit that we all knew was the worst team in the league. Nah, it's something serious. It's all for the show. Yep, guaranteed second round exit. Charles Barkley. Yeah, I'm telling you. It's his second round exit. It's a second round exit. They're gonna be out of there. Guaranteed. That's what he's gonna be doing. Oh, they're gonna be gone. But for Detroit, it's not about them succeeding deep into the playoffs. It's about them having an ability to grow. They didn't have that before. Again, they had the worst record. They lost, 23 straight. They were looking as bad as the Bobcats, the Charlotte Bobcats here in North Carolina. The Charlotte Bobcats, they were looking as bad as them. And the Bobcats got the worst record in history. And that was because of the lockout season. They could have probably had it gone even further down the tube. That's how bad Detroit was just a season or two ago. And now they're looking like this. Oh, times have changed and things are shifting. And my gosh, everything, stuff's on the up and up, which is incredible, which is defunct. Oh, and one more thing, real quick. Again, if you want to touch on more on the NBA, I'm all for it. Or two more things. MVP, at this point in time, I still firmly believe it's Nikola Jokic. Regardless of even though they're only third regardless of whether they're only third in the Western Conference, and regardless of whether this team has not looked as great of a well-oiled machine as they've been in the past, we are still not seeing a player near the tops of their conference look and play like the likes of Nikola Jokic. There is an untouchable caliber that I haven't seen since the best days of LeBron when he was running the league as the end-all be-all best player in the world. This is a man who's averaging 29, 12, and 10 on 57% from the field. Are you kidding me? This brother's shooting upwards of high 40s from three. Also incredibly low in the turnover department. From every advanced metric and also just straight up outright metric. This brother is the best player in the world, and he does it without a care in the world. He does it not for the love of the game. He does it for a job. He goes home and sleeps and then gets back up and does the same thing like a 9 to 5. And he's cooking every single brother in the league with ease. I mean, are you kidding me? Again, I just wanted to touch on it real quick, but appreciate this while you can, because we are potentially seeing the greatest offensive center in the history of this game. We're seeing a center that could potentially be in all-time caliber rankings, top 10 centers in the history of the sport. Elevating quickly into one of the best top 25 players we have seen in the history of this game. Has every imaginable trait that you would want. Tough, driven, hungry, as well as the man is durable. He can play just about every game. Strong like an ox, can play down low, can shoot the three, has an immaculate mid-range game, in my opinion, the best passer in the NBA right now, bar none. And in my opinion, you can argue he's the best scorer or one of the best scorers in the NBA from a pure bucket standpoint. That what can he not do? There is no shot he can't hit. There is nobody that can guard him. He can shoot anywhere, at any time, with any hand, on either side of the floor, from any range. It makes no sense to me, but it makes him so incredible. He, in my opinion, even now, is still the MVP of this league. For my money, he's still the MVP. No question about it. No question at all. I mean, I may just have to get this brother on my wall in terms of putting this man on the poster. I need to get a LeBron poster, I need to get a Curry poster, and I need a Jokic poster. Because I'm telling you, we're witnessing something that we would never see again in the greater landscape of basketball. We keep talking about anomalies. We've seen versions of Victor Wembanyama with Ralph Sampson way back in the day. Way back in the day. Not to this degree in terms of all encompassing skill sets, dribbling, shooting, passing, and defense. But still, a semblance of that Ralph Sampson had. Arvydas Sabonis had somewhat in terms of a diverse skill set. No question. But Jokic is something that I don't think we've seen at this side of a caliber in the history of the sport. I don't think we'll ever see it again. I truly don't. We may be looking at, forget just offensive centers. We could be looking at one of the greatest offensive players that this game has ever seen when it's all said and done. When it's all said and done. And this is a buddy who's got 3 MVPs and was robbed of a 3-peat. And it's like, and again, MVP is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, no question. Oh, you can absolutely make an argument. With how OKC is looking right now, with this squad being indeed incredible, him being one of the best, not young leaders, straight up leaders. He's young, but that brother's a dog. He is a leader. He got aura and skill. With him, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, a deep bench, and a brother who's averaging, again, 30. What does he have? Oh, he's averaging, 30 and 9? 38 and 9? Somewhere along that range. Has been cooking the entire league, turning this OKC squad into the best record in the Western Conference. With, again, 47 and 11. Just dominating in every single regard of basketball and only looking to get better. Only looking to get better. And this brother is unequivocally one of the 5 best players in the world. No question. None at all. None at all. And if he keeps this up and they keep the first seed in the Western Conference, dare I say, if they can get the best record in the NBA, hey, brother, you got a major argument. You got a mega argument. Mega argument, no question. But for me, with me seeing, again, he's averaging 32, 5, and 6 on 52% from the field. Incredible. Stupid and phenomenal. Also, he's improving as a defender, becoming a great defender. As I don't know if he's improved his 3-point shot as much, but even still, he don't need it because he's a dog. Some people may call him a product of the free throw line. Some people may. I don't. Does he get a more favorable whistle than others? To a degree, yeah, he does. That doesn't change that at his core. We've seen this brother give people 40 without the free throw line. We've seen this brother lead his team to comebacks without the free throw line. We've seen this brother be cold-blooded without the free throw line. So now, he's a dog. He's a dog in every regard. But for me, but that Shai's great. Shai's top 5. Shai's an MVP conversation. You can argue Shai should be second in voting. You can make an argument for him being first, but he ain't my first. Like, I'm sorry. This isn't me trying to be just a Jokic fan, a Jokic fanboy, but genuinely, we are looking at Jokic individual production. This man is top 3 in points, rebounds, top 3 in points, second in assists, and top 10 in rebounds. And he's shooting nearly 60% from the field as a center. Who, if I got my stuff correctly, let me look it up real quick. Let me look it up on the most reputable type of site imaginable, Basketball Reference. This man is doing this. And a stupid type of consistent level production. And this year he is shooting 45% from 3. Averaging 4 threes a game. He is for 82% from the field. And again, is averaging 29, 10 assists, and 12 rebounds. This makes no sense at all. None. When you look at this and you look at how lost they would be without him, and he's only averaging 3 turnovers a game. Like, he's only averaging 3 turnovers a game. He's gotten better defensively also. And this is stupid. There is a real argument. When we look at the greater landscape of what we've seen Jokic do in the past, this is the best season he's had right now. And he won MVP in 2020, in 2021, and in 2023 last season. And this year is the best year we are seeing Jokic have. And this is also, I believe, Shai's best year today. And Shai ain't touching this. Shai, I'm sorry. I'll pull it up for me, for my money. If you look at it, Shai ain't touching this. Where's him? Shai is not touching this. Shai's not touching this. This year, Shai could have potentially beaten 2021 Jokic, could have potentially beaten 2022 Jokic, even though, again, clearly he should have been a winner. This year's Shai could have even beaten last year's Jokic. And we were saying that Jokic just keeps on getting better. This year's Shai, he ain't beating this Jokic. I'm sorry, he ain't beating this. If you're nearly averaging a 30-point triple-double and doing what Westbrook could never do, which is shoot effectively, as well as being the best playmaker, pure playmaker in the game, while also being arguably the best scorer in the game. From a standpoint of, we've seen this man dominate games without shooting, and he's still averaging 29. You give this man the bulk of shots, as in the bulk of shots? Are you telling me the lesser passer? Oh, he's averaging 35. If Jokic was selfish, he would be averaging 35, 8, and 12. Do you understand that? On still just about 60% from the field. That's not human. That is not human. This man, if he was really, really selfish, he could average upwards of what we saw James Harden average, while still averaging Shai's assist numbers on a better turnover ratio, and still averaging 12 assists, or 12 rebounds. Dare I say he could average 7 assists and average 35 points if he really wanted to be selfish in terms of scoring the ball, putting the ball in the bucket, and still shoot just below 60%. We're witnessing somebody who is going to be, and I'm not disrespecting Shai at the slightest. No, I got Shai as my second best in terms of for MVP. He's my second. But we're looking at this man, Jokic, and we're saying there's never going to be another. He has reached that threshold of anomaly, of true anomaly. We call him the Joker because, brother, there is no other card in the deck like the Joker. There isn't. He is a unique specimen that is so far and away game-changing. He shocks the world. He shocks us all. He shocks me every time he plays. You can't call him boring. You can't call him lazy. He's got work ethic. He's got drive. He's got everything you would want. There's nothing that he lacks except for a personality. You don't need it. If you're making people look stupid, if you're putting up 42 on AD, if you're hitting game-winning shots and just lofting the ball into the rim like it's the greatest of ease, and everybody's looking around and saying, how is that possible? There's nobody that can stop him. There's nobody that can stay in front of him. We're looking at Jokic as the de facto best player in the world. And for my money, Jokic is my MVP if everything was to stop today. And don't let Jokic get better. Don't let this brother start getting on a tear in the second half of the season. And all of a sudden, we see the Nuggets get the second best in the West. Or we see this brother's numbers just skyrocket. I mean, shoot. He is doing Shai's production and doubling it. But it's more efficient and effective. He's doing what Shea's doing, but he's taking less shots. He's doing what Shea's doing with just about as much, if not less, turnover ratios. And he is still second in assists right now. He's doing what Shea's doing, but still being one of the best rebounders in the game. I don't know what, and he's available. I don't know what else is there for me to show, except for Jokic should be MVP again this season. It's only gotten better. This would be his best season to date, like I said earlier. No, it's preposterous. It's ludicrous. It's insane. It's ridiculous. My gosh. I mean, just talk about outright shocking up. That's what Jokic is. He's shocking up. Show his shape. No question. But Jokic, it's another plane. It's another plane of greatness that just continues to shock my mind. And I can't believe it. But I think that's about everything we can cover. If anybody else got anything they want to say, hey, speak now, forever hold your peace. But if we all done and out of here, I think that's about good. You know what? There is one more thing I would like to say before we go. Touching on the NBA, because again, we are a multifaceted thing. Many conversations have come up about how the league is losing traction. Nobody cares to watch the games. Everything's struggling. We've had this conversation before. Everybody seems to be in the boxing regime or in the basketball regime. There's a problem with the league, and we don't know what it is. And I think what we need to look at more than anything, it's not the play styles. It's not the three-point shots. It's not everybody plays the same. None of that is the reason. NBA teams don't play the same. Everybody don't play like the Warriors because everybody ain't got Steph. That's wholeheartedly true. Lakers do not play like the Nuggets. Nuggets do not play like the Timberwolves. Timberwolves do not play like the Atlanta Hawks. Hawks definitely don't play like the Hornets. Hornets don't play like Detroit. It's completely different styles. Absolutely. There is a plethora of difference. There is continuity. There is star power. There is bodies and personalities to latch onto. There are an abundance of talent that even role players in today's day and age got a lot of acclaim. Bobby Portis, Austin Reeves, Alex Caruso, Amen Thompson, Sir Thompson. Shoot, even the likes of Isaiah Stewart just for being a brawler. Like people, there's more identifiable talent and recognized personnel in the NBA than ever before. The league is more diverse than ever, which is phenomenal. But what is holding this league back is the way that it's covered. What is holding this league back is indeed the media. And that's because the way media covers it is a whole outright shame. Media has covered the NBA to the point that now the league, to some degree, isn't highlighting the stars that should be seen as stars. Mind you, they were late getting on the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander train. They were late getting on the train of what Shai is becoming in terms of how good he is. They were late when it came to Nikola Jokic and how great he is. It was so late that Kendrick Perkins was saying that Jokic was winning MVPs because of racism. And one of the most ignorant, stupid, nonsensical, belligerently wrong, absolutely baiting, despicable types of things you could say. And you want to say you were a leader in the OKC locker room, but they probably would have you eating chicken wings in the corner. That's probably what you were doing. You were a leader getting texts and fouls and struggling to get a two-handed dunk. Catching lobs was an anomaly for you. Getting running up and down the floor was an anomaly for you. Being able to actually hit a layup in the post was absolutely shame on the defense for letting that happen. And I don't normally get on this about talent. I don't normally get on this about people. I respect everybody when it comes to their ability to play. He's in the NBA for a reason. But brother, don't talk like something that you definitely were never, and could never dream of. And the fact that you use racism as a means to put down somebody like Jokic, who was indeed living up to everything that we wanted for an MVP, And that was your only argument for why that brother's winning? Not that he's outright better than Embiid. And in fact, you walked back that MVP talk that you said that Joel Embiid should have won because of the mess that you spewed out, your ignorant self. This is the problem. This and more. We don't cover and shed light on the other stars of the world. We complain about everything. And he said he's the center of all NBA wisdom. And it's like, no, bump that. He's ignorant in so many regards. A lot of them are. And this is not me trying to disparage ESPN or anybody of one company. This is a whole problem. That's what you have to understand. This is a media-wide problem. We have been perpetuated with complaining. We have been perpetuated with the game is never the same. Blinded by nostalgia. Constantly berating the young stars of today. If one person has a bad game, he's a bump. And then when they have a couple good games, you go quiet. Mind you, I'm not just trying to touch on the Lakers, but let's not forget, at one point in time earlier in the season, they had the same record as Darvin Ham's led Lakers, 21-17, earlier in the year. All of a sudden now they are 32 and 19 on the year, fourth in the Western Conference, and are sitting pretty for a playoff opportunity, and the media went silent. Social media wasn't saying anything about it. In terms of how they've ramped up, how good JJ Redick is as a coach, actually, how bad that bum of an absolute schmuck of a coach in Darvin Ham was, didn't know a doggone thing about anything. They went quiet. They didn't give praise where praise was due. They didn't. The Knicks all of a sudden are now talking about it spiraling out of control. There's no hope. And they've only had a couple bad games. Mind you, they're still at the tops of the Eastern Conference. Huh? We still got the likes of DeRozan and Zach LaVine covering how that duel was going to be. We still got so many other quality types of opponents, quality types of names, quality types of people that just don't get talked about at all or ignored strictly because of the fact that they don't like praising the game is more difficult for some odd reason when it shouldn't be in the slice. And if anything, with everything that we're seeing right now, the very fact that we're having conversations of there's no face of the league is absolutely stupid. Because you have to understand, with the amount of talent that we've had, outside of the likes of against Zion Williamson, sure, we still have an abundance of young people. Jason Tatum, completely all of a sudden just left out of that conversation. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, not for face of the league, but in terms of dynamic duels and also for face of the league, Giannis is still a dog, still putting up insane, stupid numbers, leading this Milwaukee Bucks squad. I don't understand. I truly don't understand. Donovan Mitchell isn't getting talked about enough when it comes to what he is as a player and what he's become as a leader, as a star. You're not marketing him. You're not. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you're now marketing him, but it's still not to the degree that it should be. It's not. Because the only thing you talk about is the Lakers. And the only thing you talk about is negativity. The only thing you compare anybody to is indeed Michael Jordan. Did we not just see Stephen A. talk about how Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is Jordan-esque and that brother's a dog? And then didn't actually go into what makes him a dog. And after that, nothing. Crickets. They don't cover OKC. They don't cover Memphis like they should be with Ja and Jaren Jackson Jr. And that whole squad being second in the Western Conference with Zach Edey. That big man tandem is working. My goodness. What the world? Jokic is having one of the best years of his career. Ain't being covered nearly enough. Ain't being talked about nearly enough. Houston Rockets with the likes of Jalen Green and Şengün. When we were saying they were everybody was going to fall flat. Nobody had any faith in them. Next thing you know, they're sitting high and pretty. Like, And then with Minnesota, they've dropped. Sure. Yes, they have. We talk about Ant a lot more because they want Ant to be the face of the league. Understandable. But to act like that there ain't no other faces of the NBA beyond just Steph, KD, and LeBron that aren't up next. They're not up next because you don't put them as up next. And you may say they're not reaching the standard that requires you to be there. Let's not forget, for a little bit of a history lesson, let's not forget that when we're looking at the grand scheme of how the NBA was talked about, and I believe Legend of Winning brought up this point as well on his own show. If you look him up, Legend of Winning, a phenomenal basketball channel, but it's been on YouTube for decades, legitimately knowledgeable. Great, give him a listen. All of his channels. I believe was it Legend of Winning, Foot on the Line, the Low Lights, and all that stuff. Great, look him up, absolutely. But one thing that he said was true. I believe it was him that said it. You can't. If everybody, one of the biggest reasons why you ain't the face of people aren't faces of the league because you don't let them be the face of the league. But for people like Michael Jordan, let's not forget, Jordan was a person who was crowned as the GOAT before his 9th year in the NBA. This man was indeed seen as, in fact, the whole GOAT conversation started from Jordan. It wasn't Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt, Bill Walton, Dr. J, all the stuff before that. Connie Hawkins, Bob Pettit, Bob Cousy, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West. We can go down the list. Early on in Ralph Sampson before he got injured. So many people. Bob McAdoo. We can go down the list of greats. Moses Malone. We can go down the list of greats throughout history. The GOAT conversation didn't come through until Jordan came about. To a degree, it was used as a marketing ploy to help perpetuate sales of his merchandise and make him more marketable for the league. Because let's not forget, the NBA also had the similar problems of losing interest in the league, just like we're having now. Trying all this different stuff, going through all these different types of avenues, having all these different types of changes. This was happening. Look it up. It was happening. Even before Jordan. It's not because basketball has been bad. It's always had this problem of what can get the people invested. But that's a whole other conversation. Regardless of which, the GOAT conversation didn't start until Jordan came around. Everybody got respected for their own specific eras. And they were just loved. And then when Jordan came along, boom, started hearing that talk. Brother got crowned as the GOAT before finishing his career. Genuinely. And when they did compare him to past greats like Dr. J, it was because he took direct inspiration from his play from Dr. J. And so it made sense. But it wasn't done in the vein of, oh, yeah, he's just like him. It was like, oh, yeah, we see some semblances, but he's his own man. That's what they were doing with Jordan. But with today's players, what are they doing? You're Jordan-esque. You're Kobe-esque. Everybody is one of those three archetypes. Jordan, Kobe, or you're the next LeBron. That's it. But nobody's individually just great. Because they don't just let them be great. They're not they aren't made allowed to be enjoyed for who they are specifically. And you brand every star with nostalgia rather than what they are at their core. That's what this is. And it's a problem. And you make it so that if you're constantly if you want to make another face of the league, brother, you got to let somebody, you got to be able to it's not just about being marketable, but it's about media acknowledging, hey, this man embodies everything that we want out the league. Beyond just, the role model part. Beyond just, he can play well. It's a combination of everything. Who embodies the pulse of the NBA? Who embodies the pulse of basketball? At one point, it was Kobe. At one point in time, it was Allen Iverson. At one point in time, it was turning into Vince Carter. It's been always passed down because it naturally just happened. And it was allowed to happen. But now, after LeBron, everybody's scrambling trying to find who's next. And we've had that conversation before in terms of in past with NBA history. That's always going to be the case. Who is the next embodiment of basketball that we will all look at? May not always be the best player, but they are the epitome of this league. More often than not, they're the best player, but most of the time, it's just who is the epitome of what this sport is. And we are not letting it come naturally, nor are we highlighting people in the way that we should to allow for the public to crown somebody as that next guy. That's the problem. It ain't because people don't want it. It ain't because people ain't looking for it. It ain't because players just don't have that heart no more. No, that's stupid and ignorant. Stop that. Be quiet. Shut up. That's not the issue. The issue is media as a whole is not covering these players correctly. It's not giving opportunities for people to see what the rest of the NBA talent has to offer because it is so crowded. We're just talking about only a couple people. And we get it. Certain names and certain teams drive media revenue. No problem. Don't change the fact you can't balance it out. If they can do it in the NFL, with Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and still have people feel like TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Michael Parsons are all still big, viable names when it comes to who's the best football player in the world, and everybody seems like a big deal, even though the main things are Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and now recently the Eagles. If everybody can feel like they got a place to eat and naturally somebody rose to the top, then what the world? Tom Brady was still the face of the NFL, but it was Sam Darnold for a point in time that was the best player in the world. And that was the thing. That was the case. And because the way they covered it made it so that there was always room to eat and everybody had a place to be seen and appreciated properly. Not just always compared, not just always brought down, not just always ripped apart for clicks, views, and in all honesty, just because of a hateful vendetta upon the mentality of what this modern game of basketball is. Don't be fooled by people saying it's just because players ain't the same. It's just because players are soft. It's just because players themselves don't want it no more. The game ain't what it's supposed to be. Don't be fooled by that rhetoric. The game is better than ever. If it was covered as such, it would be seen as more hotly rated by the public. But if you are sitting here consistently complaining about everything, and in the pockets of praise that you do give are overshadowed, and in some cases, people don't even watch the games that are being played, like with some of the TNT team, like with Kendra Perkins, with Stephen A. Smith, and other pundits around the sports media landscape. This is not disrespect. This is the truth based on what they say. Then it's ridiculous for us to say that isn't a legitimate concern. You, as a media pundit, have an obligation. If you can't know everything, know as much as you can, and make it so that you are ensured that you're giving your best informed opinion. But in some situations, it's just blatantly not happening. And narratives and things that are being pushed to the public are indeed wrong. But because they're just known in terms of who is saying it, they are a big name, then they're encapsulated as, well, that's just the truth. Yeah, we got to take it. Yeah, this is indeed what's the problem with the game today. No, it's not. The problem is the media is not covering it the right way because they are berating it more than they are praising it. They're not highlighting people outside of the biggest names. They are not naturally letting the world of sports crown who should be the next face. And then when they do, when they find that there's a gap and they can't find who's the next face of the league, they don't go out and try to push a spotlight on somebody else and see if it sticks. They just go and say, well, there's a problem. Nobody wants it. That's stupid. It's so ignorant. And it's got to change. If it don't change, brother, this game's just going to be worse and worse and worse. The biggest thing that can change this is do what NBC used to do. Storytelling, packages, painting a narrative. Wasn't Luka versus Mavs? That's going to be rated as probably one of the most highly sought after games this season. And it's because the story behind it was indeed enticing. But if that's the only situation where anything is worth watching, when you can make a story that makes people invested, because it is, again, sports is drama. Sports is pomp and circumstance. It's about you making something to draw the customer in to see this is a big event because we got all this stuff surrounding it. The context helps makes the event itself bigger, even though the event itself is great. But when you can paint a story and make all the players on the court feel like an engaging point in this timeline of the season that we're watching, more people will want to see. NBC did a phenomenal job of doing it. Painting pictures, painting narratives, painting a paintbrush around what game you're getting ready to see. Why this is something that you should tune into. Weaving storylines throughout the season of the individual players' journeys, teams' journeys, rivalries. All this stuff. They brought it up and they painted it through to give you, hey, brother, this stuff got some history. You're going to want to see what's happening next. And then naturally it helped incentivize fans to watch people, further helping it to be seen for people to witness a lot of quality talent and naturally get invested with a lot more of the brand of basketball. But when you don't give anybody anything to latch onto outside of this game sucks, then that means that people are going to say, this game sucks. Give it to people who love the game. In fact, Kenny for real. Kenny King of the Fourth Quarter. Kenny for real is his other channel on basketball is the one that he did it. Go look him up. Kenny Beecham. Phenomenal brother. Oh, making strides in the basketball world as coming from YouTube into the legitimate media landscape. Incredible. He put out a video on this as well. It's a hot button issue because it's a problem. It can be fixed. But it's up to the media to look themselves in the face and say, hey, we created this monster also. It's not just the league that is having problems. It's not just the league not being innovative. It's not just a league with its own standpoints. We, as a whole, also capitulated to having this problem for the basketball world to have to deal with. Nobody cares about the NBA, seemingly, because of the fact that everybody looks at it from a lens that we created. Constantly downplaying, constantly critiquing in a negative light, constantly not highlighting people that are indeed doing great things, and constantly having the noise of you ain't as great as the past era. Hence, you ain't nothing. That's a problem. It's a problem. It's a bold-faced problem. And it's building up. They can fix it, but it's up to them. But now, officially, I think that's where we're going to stop it from here. I think that's all I got to cover on the show. I've said about everything I need to say. And so with that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me. Yo, Jean-Luc Welch, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show on today. This was phenomenal. This was incredible. I appreciate all of you tuning in to the show. We're going to be back on Thursday covering the world of sports and beyond. Again, I'm not going to be able to cover the fight on Saturday for Tank versus Lamont Roach. Can't do a live stream for that fight on tonight because I got stuff I got to take care of, but I will be watching it and I will be covering it on Tuesday. Mark my words, it's going to be a time. We're going to have some fun. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the show. Leave a like on the stream before you leave. Go on and subscribe if you ain't already. Share the show with everybody that you can. I have been John Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. See you all next week.